beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is the first time that you're on my channel, my name is Vanessa Somuayina. You guys know me as your big sis from the internet, as well as your favorite psychic medium. And if you've tuned into today's psychic predictions, then you want to figure out what the next steps in your life are truly going to be. And in order to help you unravel all of the upcoming events, connections, and happenings that are coming towards you, I have prepared 4 groups for you to choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So getting straight into it, group number 1 corresponds to the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck, as well as the orange calcite crystal. Group number 2 corresponds to the Pastel Journey Tarot, as well as the Grape Agate crystal. Group number 3 corresponds to the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck, as well as the Aquamarine crystal. And group number 4 corresponds to the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck, as well as the Labradorite crystal. The timestamps to all 4 of these groups can be found below in the description box, as well as pinned to the top of the comment section. And when it comes to picking one of these 4 groups, I highly recommend that you go with your intuition. So pick whichever group that you naturally and intuitively felt drawn towards. And if you absolutely cannot make up your mind between 2 or more groups, remember that sometimes your personal reading is a mixture between multiple groups. And in that case, feel free to tune into multiple readings. So I will now provide you with a little moment of privacy so you can meditate on these 4 groups, and then I'll be right back to guide you into your readings. Alright, my beautiful soul, by now you've hopefully been able to select one of these 4 groups. I'll be starting off your readings with group number 1, which corresponds to the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck, as well as the orange calcite. If this is the group that you chose, then please continue watching. And to my other lovely groups, I will catch you all at the click of your timestamps. Hello, my gorgeous soul of group number 1. Welcome to your reading about the next steps that are coming towards you in your life. We're going to get into all of the nitty-gritty details, so I just want to start your personal reading off by saying, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Take what serves you, leave what you feel doesn't resonate, because there will be some very specific messages in here. And sometimes at the time of you receiving the reading, it doesn't all make sense until a couple days or weeks thereafter. But I do still invite you to use the comment section to let me and others know that you're here. Leave an orange heart emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you chose the orange calcite and that you're part of group number 2, because that's the only way anyone would know. So this is the orange calcite. This is a stone for all of the pioneers, all of those of you who are fearless, who are bold, who are courageous. And I want to see precisely what kind of influence that this has on the next steps in your life, group number 1. So let's get into your reading. I can't wait to see what your guides, your angels, and spirit has to say about what's coming next. Also, this reading is completely timeless, so whenever it is that you choose to tune into this psychic prediction, know that it is the perfect time for you. Nothing happens without a reason, nothing happens randomly in this lifetime, and there is a reason why you're here right now receiving these messages. First up, we have meditation, which also corresponds very deeply to recuperation of the soul and sleeping, napping, taking time away. I can see for meditation that group number 1, you've been overworking yourself. When's the last time that you took a nap without feeling guilty? When's the last time that you took a vacation without still thinking about work or still thinking about your responsibilities? When's the last time that you actually meditated? And I know in this day and age, it's so popular to talk about meditation, to say, oh, just meditate on it, just relax, just chill. But how many times do we actually meditate? I've done some meditation challenges within my memberships and my free communities as well. And I find that being able to hold yourself accountable in some way, either through a community or a group, or by just writing it down yourself, is actually so helpful to sticking to this entire vibe of essentially resting. I don't want you to see meditation as a chore that needs to be done, or a spiritual practice that just takes time but doesn't really give you the returns that you're seeking, because sometimes you feel as though, oh, meditating just means you're spending time in silence, but that means you're not getting anything done. That means you're not making money. That means you're not meeting the love of your life. And refraining your mind from feeling like, oh, this is a chore, but actually seeing it as, I'm resting, I'm giving my body time to actually relax, is going to help you to enjoy it. Literally just last night, I said to myself, I thrive when I get up very early, 4 or 5 in the morning. Why am I denying myself of this? By not meditating, by not sleeping early, by not taking naps, and ensuring that I can be my best self. Because what this boils down to, again, then, is a question of, are we truly loving ourselves? Or do we just say that we've got self-love, but when it comes down to actually showing it and practicing it and sleeping and napping, we're not doing it? So this is an important question I want you to ask yourself. Next up, we have some unexpected steps coming towards you. So through recuperation and having energy, you will be able to take these next steps into the next new world and chapter in your life. Just as we have here on this card, on the image, you can see there's like a young childlike energy radiating from this darkness. There are here some faces that are watching this child turn the corner and then see that there is this opening, there's this light, there are fairies, there are butterflies, there's a new world, a castle that is ready to be explored, that is ready to be quote unquote conquered. There's greenery, there's life, there's nature. It's an inviting sight. And this is what's coming as a next step in your life. You're turning the corner from somewhere that was dull, that was dark, where you knew everything already, and you're walking into a new part of your life that is exciting, that is fresh, that brings way bigger opportunities. So quite literally owning your own castle, a new type of home ownership, whether that be your first home ever or an investment property. It shows that unexpectedly something will change in your home ownership status and in your living situation. So completely upgrading how you live, completely upgrading your home, your standard of life. And this is a really exciting time for you, group number 1. This is a time of huge unexpected changes that are coming sooner than you thought possible. And this is where I have to remind you, as someone who truly studies manifestation and practices manifestation on a larger scale, that time is malleable. Time is not fixed. Just think about it. When you have, for example, 2 hours to get ready to go out, it's going to take you 2 hours. But when you've only got 40 minutes, somehow you squeeze getting ready into those 40 minutes, for example. So I want you to be very clear on the fact that you are in control of more things than you probably even realize. And in Alchemize the Ache, I do want you to understand that what comes next and super unexpectedly is that any pains and aches that you have been experiencing in your body, so if your body has been through trauma, and trauma is not just broken bones, it's not just migraines, it's not just having had any kind of flus or illnesses in the past, it can also relate to elective surgery, elective treatments that you have had that can cause aches. Because just think about it. If you have an elective surgery, so for example, plastic surgery, anything that is some sort of elective procedure where things are punctured, they're cut open, filler, Botox, all of these different things, whether you identify as male or female, you may have had something done electively. So not just for vanity reasons, but also because, yeah, it's better to prevent than to see what may happen later down the line if you don't treat this. That causes trauma in your body, and your body doesn't forget. And I want you to know here in the karmic cause and effect that your body doesn't forget, and in many ways is going to ask you to be loved again. Now, for me, I have noticed in some instances that I have found actually my body craves a lot of attention in moments where I'm not sleeping well, and I have chosen not to meditate. My body chooses to be puffy, be bloated, just show me that it's not happy in many different ways. And your guides are reminding you that everything has this karmic cause and effect. This is a law of manifestation as well. If you want to manifest your best life, remember here, this is a game of chess, all right? Life is strategic, and I want you to be as strategic as possible with all of the advantages that you were born into this life with. If you've got pretty privilege, the next step is to alchemize the aches that have come with that and then use that to your advantage. So yeah, it may have come with some people judging you, some people not being kind to you, some people kind of minimizing you to your looks. But at the end of the day, you can use that to your advantage if you get over the ego part that is telling you to defend yourself, to feel bad about this. And I see here within sensitivity that actually spirit is communicating that what you're doing next is that you're breaking free from any type of cage, if you will, that you have mentally because you are sensitive that's keeping you confined. So you know when you yourself, you just have to say, I'm sensitive, like I'm a Cancer, I'm a Pisces, I am a Libra rising, like I'm a sensitive person. So therefore, I'm just not even going to put myself out there in love. I'm not even going to put myself out there to try to establish new friendships. I'm not even going to put myself in a position where my sensitivity might be tested or where I might be rubbed the wrong way. If you've ever been in that situation, group 1, I just want you to now honor the sensitivity that you have, and rather than run from it, start to put yourself in situations where the sensitivity is triggered, but you're doing so mindfully, so you're not going to succumb and give into it. So here within the Grand Budapest Hotel's quote that we're receiving, so this is a movie and Spirit wants you to receive this quote from this iconic movie, is the following: I was once considered a great beauty. Now what this means is that what comes next is that you remember the amount of times that people said that you were attractive physically, and you will remember where along the way you fell into the, I don't want to be dramatic and call it pits, but into the fangs of insecurity, into the fangs of there also being a part of society that almost like doesn't want us to feel beautiful, that doesn't want us to feel good about ourselves. And remembering here, like, you were an amazing beauty inside and out. You didn't need anyone to put you down, if that makes sense. You didn't need for society to actually give you this insecurity, because as kids we're born so confidently until we go to school and we learn what shame is, until we're part of society and we learn all of these little hidden ways of behaving that's actually not even enabling us to live our best lives. So another quote from a movie, this is the movie Amelie, is the following: not you who says that with the good old days. Now, group number 1, be honest. Have you looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, in the good old days I was so much leaner, skinnier, my skin was better. I was more confident in myself. I wore clothes that I wouldn't have the courage to wear now or here today. I was just such a different person, and in a way yearning to be that person again. And I want to remind you that that person never went away. You just chose to embrace another side of yourself. And the next step now is to come back to this individual that was confident, that didn't question everything that they did or said, that didn't cringe about themselves, because you have no reason to, group number 1. And sometimes we don't realize how slowly but surely, when we neglect our needs for rest and relaxation, meditation, for just leaning back and enjoying life, it actually subconsciously starts to chisel away at our self-confidence. We also have the manifest card that showed up next for you. But just to finish this thought, remember that every time you say no to yourself or you deny yourself of care, it does take away from your self-confidence, because what you're actually reiterating to yourself is that you don't think you are worthy of these things. Now, next up here within Manifest, these are the following words that Spirit has for you. Manifest your dreams and watch them materialize. Be willing to work on the inside to make manifestation possible. Make your intentions clear. Now, as someone who manifests on a daily, I want you to become aware that you can manifest your dreams into the material realm through turning energy into matter. I also did a video about this on my second channel. Feel free to check that out. The value that you get on my second channel, I'll leave it linked in the description box. It's insane. Honestly, these videos shouldn't even be public, but it's so important to me. Even on my main channel, you guys see how much effort and time and care and love that I put into my pick a card tarot readings, and they are all public, right? They're all free. They're all openly accessible. It's because I truly believe that if you're trying to manifest your dream life, you have to give, you have to provide value, you have to put yourself in situations where your intention is to create this dream life. However, what you're willing to do to receive all of the things that you desire matches up with what you want from life. So if you want a life of, for example, serenity, of financial freedom, of being able to live safely, comfortably, healthily, you will have to put something out into the universe that energetically communicates that this is what you deserve, that this is a match. So in order to become an energetic match for the things that you desire here with manifesting, you have to get rid of replaying the record of the past that is in your brain, as though, oh, the good old days, oh, I was once considered a great beauty in the past, as though you're not still extremely beautiful today. And focus on love. Spirit always has the perfect messages for you. Spirit always has the absolutely perfect channeled divine intervention ready for you. Your relationship with yourself and others needs reassessing. Open up to love others by unblocking negativity. Embrace love without fear and make it unconditional. As you can see here, what is also coming next in your life that's unexpected is a lover. These things can happen so quickly. You may seem brutally single one day. It may seem as though your relationship is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place on one day. And then before you know it, a couple weeks thereafter, it's like you are completely enamored and glued together with a new person. You are in a completely tight relationship with another human being that you never even expected to become part of your life, but they have now entered your life. They're now part of your existence, and they've become so important to you. It's really crazy how you can go from strangers to absolute best friends, lovers, and soulmates in an instant. But I do also want to remind you that things that are built on a super quick foundation can sometimes also trigger an insecurity of them leaving as quickly as they came into your life. Now, you may ask yourself, who is this person, Vanessa? Who's coming into my life? Who is part of this next chapter of my life? Who's going to be part of these next steps? we have got the King of Air that showed up for you. Now, what your guides are trying to say when the King of Air shows up within a reading is that we've got the King of Air signs, so Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini energy. And I see here for the King of Air, this is someone who is very direct, very logical. This is the king of saying it how it is. Even if it hurts other people's feelings, even if other people don't like it, the King of Air is not going to spare anybody just to try to fit into the societal norms of how they are supposed to talk, walk, or express themselves. They will always tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. The King of Air is also someone who has a job where they work within reason. And within reason means they have to be logical. They have to follow rules. I want to add a little more into the King of Air. I've got our runes prepared for us here, so I will intuitively... Oh, all right. Spirit already has a rune for us. And I will also intuitively pick one for you. So this is Isa. We are going to uncover the rune that popped out in just a second. Isa is the rune of ice, of standing still, of just taking time, all right, of there being some sort of blockage. So when you meet the King of Air, I see that the first reaction here is blockage. The first reaction is, ooh, I'm not sure. And the thing here also with love and the pretty privilege that we spoke about, before I get into that, by the way, this rune is a plain rune. It's an empty rune. There's no message on here. This is a very clear sign from Spirit that Spirit wanted you to pay close attention to what comes next, to know here that this rune of Isa is really meant to be the reminder that maybe even your close friends and family wouldn't say to you, and that's why you sometimes need a reading to just get clarity and honesty. Sometimes you need a psychic reading from someone who doesn't know you so deeply to tell you the truth and not spare your feelings. And the truth for you, group number one, is that you have built up walls. You push people away more than you realize. You are harder on love than you would like to admit. Love here also comes with master number 33, which is the master number of teaching. It's the master number of someone who is meant to collaborate with others. As you can see here within this love card, there is this person, he seems to be in his divine masculine, who is all over this lady. And it's almost like, not that she's pushing him away, but do you see what I mean here with kind of a little bit of an energy of rejection, a little bit of an energy of, get off of me, slightly. Do you see that, group number one? And I see that here with the King of Air, a little bit of this rejection that is in the air, quote unquote. And I want you to be open to the King of Air. The King of Air is ready. The King of Air knows what they want. The King of Air is someone who is not going to play with you when they can see, all right, this is a person who values themselves. Has the King of Air played people in the past? Yes. The King of Air is no saint. But I want to remind you here, group number one, that perhaps neither are you. You may have never noticed this, but that person that you know has a crush on you that would do anything for you in an instant, and keeping them around without actually being honest with them and saying, you know what, this is never going to be anything, because sometimes it's nice to get that kind of attention. But that can be seen as on the verge of playing. Let's move a little deeper into your reading, group number one, and not to call you out, but you know, for me, it's more about being real and honest, providing you with value and clarity, than telling you just what you want to hear. That is not what we're here for on this channel. We're here for the clarity, and you guys also love it when I call you out. Honestly, the comments are amazing when you guys say, oh, I really needed that. And it just reminds me that you guys get it. You guys are truly my soul tribe. You always understand that it's not an attack. It's not meant to be anything negative. It's for your own good, because we don't know what we don't know. We can't see what it is that we're not even noticing about ourselves and other people. And here within the 8 of Fire, Spirit can see that what comes next as a next step in your life is a really intense romance that you're manifesting. The 8 of Fire shows us here being in divine masculine energy, romantically speaking. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have femininity to you or that you're not going to also enjoy your soft side. But what this does mean, group number 1, is that you're with someone who you also are very attracted to. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where it's like you're dealing with someone who is very attracted to you. They're clearly showing that they care about you, that they're into you, but you're just not that into them. So naturally, you're not going to like quote unquote jump them. You're not going to be making the first move to like physically be with them, to physically show them that you're attracted to them, you know, like the kissing, the making out, the hugging, even going further than that. It's like you're not going to initiate that. But I see here that actually what comes for you, we've got the King of Air, love, sensitivity, manifesting. We've got the 8 of Fire, the unexpected. There's this love coming towards you that you did not expect, that you are manifesting from a realm of wishing, hoping, thinking this is too fairy tale like, but actually you have manifested just that, your own personal romantic fairy tale. Next up, we have the 5 of Cups in reverse, and the 5 of Cups in reversed means the complete opposite of when this card shows up upright. The 5 of Cups in reversed shows us that rather than having this sadness, this feeling of loss, this feeling of being alone, right? Because the Suit of Cups corresponds to the element of water. The element of water represents your emotions. Seeing here that this is showing up in reverse is a clear sign that those negative emotions are leaving your body. Those emotions of feeling alone, gone. So the next steps within your life are filling up your emotional cups, even if you feel like you're more of an introvert. You know you're more introverted. You know you're more of the loner type of person. The 5 of Cups in reverse shows us that you're no longer stuck in a place of feeling alone or lonely. The Queen of Wands shows us that you are actually stepping into your leadership energy of planning for a prosperous future, seeing the future as prosperous, and having a lot of respect from the people around you. So not being alone means you have more social contact than usual coming next for you. At your work here in the Queen of Wands, I can see a lot of people look to you for decisions and answers. People want leaders. They want someone to tell them what to do. People want you to tell them what to do. And because people want you to tell them what to do, and you have this energy of a leader, of someone who is capable of telling others what to do, and those people not feeling like they're being forced, not feeling like they have to submit to someone who they don't trust or respect, but they're doing so willingly. Group number 1 now might just be this time for you to upgrade your business, position yourself in a place of authority and power. So, for example, you want to start a YouTube channel. Rather than feeling shy or like, oh, I'm not sure if I even have anything to say that others will want to hear, who am I to put myself in a position where it's almost like I'm saying I am the expert in this. You have every right to do so, group number 1, because you are anyways an overthinker in the sense of you will overthink whether you have the credentials. Meanwhile, someone who has 0 credentials, who barely even has a birth certificate, but what they have is a lot of confidence and arrogance, will already position themselves as an expert or take a space, take sales, take opportunities that you rightfully should have had. But we can't blame them if they simply have the audacity to do so. And in life, the person with the most audacity and courage is usually the one who gets what they want. And Spirit is trying to say to you at this point, you have to learn audacity and courage. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse shows that you don't need new opportunities. You don't need new leads. You don't need new ideas. You don't need anything new and groundbreaking, especially in your professional and financial life, to completely change your reality. What you do need is to be reminded of what you actually already know. You don't need the newness, you just need the reminders. If you know, for example, all right, I've got to be disciplined and wake up every day at 5 a.m. because I know between 5 and 8 a.m. I'm not just going to sit around and do nothing and daydream. I'm actually going to get work done. I'm going to get more work done than I would get done all day, compared to starting at 8 or 9 a.m. because then I have interruptions, then I'm not as focused, I've got people calling me, I've got emails, I'm just all over the place, and I'm also, in a way, feeling more lethargic. Well, then you know what needs to be done. Then you know what needs to be done is you've got to get up early, and rather than reinventing the wheel, you just have to be reminded of, okay, if that's how you thrive, why aren't you living life like that? If that's how you thrive, why isn't that your number one thing you're actually following through on? Now, the Ace of Wands is a representation of a fresh beginning. The Ace always represents a new beginning in tarot, in case you didn't know that, or you're not in my tarot reader course, all right? It may not be familiar to you, but the Ace of Wands truly represents, all right, there's a new start here. You see how we have this phallic symbol? That means masculine symbol. We've got that in the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands. This is a representation of the element of fire, and what that speaks to is your ambition. It speaks to the things that you love, that light you up, that fire you up, right? The wands is used to, for example, hit something, to create some sort of speed, to use it in order to poke something. It is a tool of action, really. So what Spirit is trying to say here is that what comes next is, rather than feeling like you have to reinvent the wheel and do something so groundbreaking and new, you don't have to reinvent the internet, you don't have to reinvent business. You just need to take action on what you know works and on what you know you should be doing. Because a lot of us are in a position where we're like, oh, I don't know what to do next. But it's like, you're not even doing the basics. Let's not talk about, oh, what has to come next. And I'm in the complete same boat, group number one, so don't feel as though I am taking myself out of this equation. I totally feel you, I relate to you, and I get you. But remember, there is a reason why I'm your big sis from the internet, and that's because I'm here to remind you, to support you, and to ensure that you make the most of your life. All right, so we have some questions here for you, some deep questions, and I want us to get into these. I want us to shuffle just a little bit. I just got this deck. It's the TBH deck from Lavender. No, this isn't sponsored. I just really love this deck, and I'm so grateful that it was sent to me. So first up, we've got number 48, which is going to be a deep question about self-discovery. What's the biggest thing you've been procrastinating on lately? Why have you been resistant to working on it? So for me, group number one, to be completely honest with you, it is the optimization of making sure that my decks can be sold in Asia and Europe on Amazon. So I'm hoping that by calling myself out right here, I will be able to say after this reading, you know what? I have been procrastinating this because, yeah, there's always something to do. There's always another reading that I'm called to channel. There's always another deck that I'm called to create. There's always another admin task that has to be done. And I want you to know here that when you're resistant to working on certain things, it's just because there's fear. There's just because there's a fear of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how. I feel inadequate. And it's time that you take yourself out of this. It's time that you free yourself, because everything is hard in life. We've got a relationship question first. Everything is difficult. It's difficult to be successful. It's challenging to be unsuccessful. The next question we've got is, who is someone in your life you'd like to become closer to, and why? And also feel free to share this in the comment section, group number 1, if you feel called to, if you feel comfortable to do so. Obviously, it's just going to say your username. It's not something that's going to be so public, but you may still want to share with the unicorn family and myself. So wanting to be closer with someone, if this is a romantic interest who has not shown you interest back, ask yourself why you want to be close to them, why you even want them in your life. If they are not putting in the same effort that you're putting into wanting to get to know them and showing them that you're interested, sometimes we got to ask ourselves, why do we want to be closer to someone who doesn't want to be closer to us? This can also relate to family and friends. And for me, wanting to be closer to someone comes from a place of realizing, okay, our vibes really align. You are who you say you are, you're authentic, and also you're someone who focuses on the glass being half full, not half empty. That's how I choose people I want to be closer to, people who inspire me, whom I can learn from, and people who ultimately are also humble enough to be able to say, you know what, there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know. This is what I do think I know, so let me share this. I love that type of energy of sharing, caring, providing value, and not gatekeeping. So Spirit has some letters here for us. All right, so one thing that I am getting here is salt in French. That's what sel means. And then sel also means, by the way, social and emotional learning, SEL. So the process through which individuals learn and apply a set of social and emotional and related skills and attitudes, behaviors, values, etc. So thoughts, feelings, and actions in ways that enable people to succeed in school. So some of you who are teachers, you might know this term of social and emotional learning. And then we also have the letter Z, which I just want to add a little more deets into your reading, just so we can uncover some more messages from Spirit. So we have ZEP. And in case you didn't know, ZEP means a large sandwich that's made of a long, crusty roll split lengthwise and filled with meats and cheese and tomato and onion and lettuce and condiments. So different names are used in different sections of the United States for this ZEP. I'm getting hungry just thinking of like the plant-based version of this. And then another thing that I'm also getting here is Pez. I don't know if you like remember these Pez. These were like first the little like peppermint guys. You know, these products, these like drops, these lozenges, these Pez things that we had as kids. It also depends a little bit where you grew up, but it's basically like a candy. So salt and candy. Not all that looks like sugar is actually sugar. Think about white sugar and salt. You can't actually really tell which is which until you've tasted it, right? So we have salty and sweet. So what this means is that your guides are trying to say to you, what comes next is learning to differentiate salty and sweet, and also to be reminded that you don't always know whether something is salty or sweet until you've tasted it and you've tried it. You don't know what someone's intentions are until you have given them a fair chance and some time to reveal who they really are and what it is that they want out of a connection with you. And I do see here some unexpected sweetness, unexpected Pez in the next weeks of you receiving this reading, group number 1. And then we have some salt coming towards you in meditation. So some realness, some being honest with yourself, and just like also, have you ever had those moments where you think of your parents and something that they did and you're like, that was actually really not cool. That was probably something that shouldn't have happened. And just realizing that is one thing that I also see coming in the next weeks and days of you receiving this reading. Let's use our Astro Dice and see what numbers are important for you. We have the number 7. This is the number of the Hermit. This is the number of solitude. This is the number of introversion. The number 7 also correlates to the 7th house, which is ruled by Libra. Libra is the sign that rules the 7th house. And the 7th house is all about marriage and partnerships. So this is important, and this is what's coming next for you after receiving this reading. So marriage, partnerships, we already spoke about how that is coming next and really important, and that Spirit wants you to let your guard down and open up to this. So we have a few more messages for you. I'm going to add on more parts to your reading now, group number 1. I hope that you have been enjoying your reading this far. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share this video with someone who you know loves tarot readings, loves these kind of predictions. So just hang on tight and you will be decked out with a few additional messages that you are meant to receive. Hello, my beautiful soul. Welcome to another one of your readings that you are meant to receive. Let's see what your guides have to say to you today. So we've got dreams of a school or an exam. You are going to dream of either your school or an exam, some sort of test situation. And you may ask yourself, Vanessa, what does this dream mean? What does this say about me? And how should I react to this? So the meaning of this dream has everything to do with asking yourself, in which areas of your life do you feel inadequate? Because when dreams show up of you being tested, it is often symbolic of you feeling inadequate in some way, and therefore you feel as though you need to be tested. Are you constantly competing with others? That's another question to ask yourself when these school dreams show up. Do you constantly feel as though you are in competition, or like everyone is doing way better, or way ahead of you? Then we also have you asking yourself the question if you're in the process of evaluating yourself and your goals. Do you feel as though your goals need to be adjusted? Do you feel like for your age, you're not far enough, you're not doing X, Y, or Z enough? Because there are so many different ways in which you testing yourself shows up, and you feeling as though you deserve to be tested, which shows that there is an insecurity here of your accomplishments and of who you are, which is nothing bad. We all have insecurities, but Spirit just wants to be very direct and honest and bring this to light to you, that when you are dreaming of situations in which you're being tested, of school, exam type of scenarios, it usually has to do with the fact that in a way you're not giving yourself enough credit. And then we have the Naked card. So the Naked card poses the question if you feel exposed or outed in some way. If you dream of being naked, which is one thing that Spirit sees, naked in school, if you've ever had that dream, it's about something within you that's making you feel inadequate, guilty, ashamed, or vulnerable. And it's time that that needs to be released. That's why these dreams even show up. It's not to pinpoint that, oh, there's an inadequacy. It is to pinpoint that you may still feel subconsciously like there is an inadequacy, and that may also be the reason why you're unable to push forward as much as you would in a lot of areas of your life, because with these inadequacies, it's hard for you when they're underlying subconsciously to do anything, because guess what? Subconsciously, you are worried about, am I performing well enough? Do I look good enough? Am I worthy? Am I lovable? Do I deserve this? Is this really even possible? And I see here that Spirit needs to talk to you today about negativity that is following you around and that you may be perpetuating unknowingly, that is holding you back from living your best life and living your dreams. And while spirituality and tarot cards, of course, we are all about the positivity and the growth, but we also have to address when there's some negativity in the room that's holding us back, because this is part of the human experience. And in order to grow and do better, we have to acknowledge it, we have to expose it, and we have to learn when we've fallen into a little bit of a cycle of negativity. The dragonfly brings the message of emergence and getting yourself as well out of something that you may have been immersed in without even knowing it. The dragonfly is symbolic of strength and freedom, right? Flying free. and also understanding your value, your worth, and your uniqueness. The dragonfly is a very unique creature if you've ever seen it out in nature. It's not one of those flying creatures that you just ignore. It's so fast. It's not big, but it still seems so well built and strong and in a way mesmerizing. And that's precisely what your guides are trying to say to you. When you're a mesmerizing person, you kind of drum up and command more attention than others. So when you enter a room, I see this here in the summer solstice that we received next for you. You have this radiance about you, this super radiant sunshine type of energy. And this warmth and radiant energy, this is one that makes a lot of people look at you for longer than they would look at others. As mentioned, when you enter a room, when you go anywhere. And they may not say it, which makes you then feel a little weird and almost like naked and insecure, right? Because you feel judged. You're like, why are people staring at me? But the thing here is that when you enter a room and people feel the radiance, for you, it may invoke a sense of insecurity because you don't know why you're being stared at and why people are looking at you in this way. But to them, they're just like, wow, look at this person. This person has the aura, the energy, and seemingly the confidence that I desire. Why I say seemingly is because they may see you as extremely confident, whereas you may think to yourself, oh gosh, why are they staring at me? This is actually making me less confident because I don't like to be watched or stared at. And that's where we have to remember here within the negativity message that sometimes we can turn situations in our minds to be way more critical than they actually are for real. So when someone is staring at you, you may think of it as being a lot more of a critical stare and a lot more of a critical looking at you than it really is, because actually all that's happening is that they're admiring you. Actually, all that's happening is that they are thinking to themselves, wow, this person is gorgeous, beautiful, mesmerizing. I wish I was more like this person. But you never even allowed that to be a reality because in your mind, you already went to a place that was far less positive than it really actually was. So allowing yourself to see the glass as half full instead of half empty. That's the message Spirit has for you today. See situations and encounters as wow, maybe this person has something super great, amazing, and positive to share with me that they want to do with me, rather than thinking, oh, this must be something bad, because it's not. I want you to know in the turquoise that your guides are also communicating to you. This is not something that you will change from one day to the next. We also have the symbol of the earth element here. It may take a little bit of time, all right, because it's something you practice every single day. You get better at every single day, and then before you know it, you are in a situation where you always see the glass as half full. You always see opportunity. You always see love. You always see support. You always see something great in a situation that before you would have deemed as tricky, as threatening, as a situation in which negativity may prevail. You're not seeing or feeling that any longer. And the apophyllite shows us that instead, you are looking at everything through a lens of curiosity. The apophyllite also is connected to Jupiter. Jupiter, in case you did not know this, is the heavenly body of growth, of philosophy, of education, of long-distance travel, of communicating with people all over the world. And reminding yourself, too, that that plays an integral role in how we perceive things. We all come from different backgrounds economically. We come from different backgrounds spiritually and religiously. So when you encounter other people and the staring happens because you have such a big aura and presence, it also really does depend where that person comes from. You may have traveled to certain countries where people stared at you because you just look so different than the general population there, which, as already mentioned, it's not something bad. They may have just never seen someone like you. They may have just never felt this type of energy. So it comes with curiosity from them, and Spirit is trying to guide you to also be curious towards other people, in the sense of letting them have their reaction, letting them have their thoughts, letting them have their patterns and express those, whether you deem those patterns as positive or negative, whether you deem them as something that you aspire to have as well or not. Just honoring humanity in all of its complex forms that it comes in, and people's personalities, and all of the ways in which they are displayed throughout day-to-day interactions. And rather than thinking, oh, that person is so rude, let's get curious about what made them stare at you, or what made them actually look at you in a way that made you uncomfortable. Maybe they have had success doing this before. And by success, I mean perhaps they were able to invoke a conversation in this way. They got someone to talk to them. Perhaps they have just been curious and they were taught that it's fine to do so. They were taught that if someone is different, you're allowed to stare at them. And just looking at it from a lens of curiosity will remind you that nothing is inherently negative. It all just depends on what lens we look at things from. And any kind of thing, any kind of energy that gets thrown out to you, it really just depends how you see it. One person on the street may say to you, oh, you're so beautiful. And depending on the tone in which they say it, they could have either meant it in a sense of, oh, you're so pretty, you won't talk to me anyways. Or they could have said it in a way of like, oh, you're so beautiful. And it really depends what the intent is behind what that person is saying and the tone, but you don't have to identify with that. If someone says to you, for example, oh, but you're perfect anyways, you must not have any issues, rather than seeing it as an attack or seeing it as like something negative, you could think to yourself, wow, really? You think I'm perfect? You think my life is so easy? Wow, I didn't know I give off that impression. That's amazing that I seem so carefree. So how they say it and the backhanded way in which they want you to receive it versus how you choose to receive it are two different things. And your guides are trying to remind you that the only exam that you've got to pass, the only recognition that's actually important is your own exam. It's your own recognition. It's you pleasing yourself. It's you making yourself proud. And by always seeing the glass as half full and always reminding yourself, regardless of what happens, I can deal with it just like I have up until this point, you strengthen yourself to be able to deal with any situation that life may throw at you with ease. Welcome, my beautiful soul. I'm so excited to have you back in this space. Let's get straight into it, shall we? And see precisely what messages that your guides have prepared for you right here, right now, today. So first up, we've got rotate, to move in circle around a fixed central point or to move something in this way. Let's just make sure this is in focus for you. Here we go. If people or things rotate, or if you rotate them, they replace one another in a particular order. I want you to be very aware here and rotate that this can be a sign that it's time for you to also rotate yourself and your outlook. Think of it this way, depending on how you see the world, whether you see it from a perspective of opportunity, a perspective of being able to grow, or you see it from a perspective of things being, as Spirit is communicating, stormy, you are right, and that is what you will see. That is what you will prime your brain to see more of. And I want you to know here that Spirit wants you to rehabilitate yourself from seeing things that are not helpful to you, from placing your attention on things that aren't serving you. So refraining from that completely, because when you get used to placing your attention on things that don't serve you but actually hurt you, all of a sudden it starts to become an addiction, and addictions need, guess what? Rehabilitation. Next up, we've got updates to your system. Spirit is talking loudly and very clearly, my gorgeous soul. And Spirit wants you to undergo these updates to your system so you're no longer in a state of where storminess is even an existent version of you, but where you have rehabilitated and rotated your worldview to the point where it's a whole entire update to your system, to your internal roadmap, and the outlook that you have on life and life's challenges and life's opportunities. So I love the vibe we're getting here for you. Let's see what else that Spirit wants to communicate. Okay, we've got Fahrenheit. Using or measured on temperature scale, on which water freezes at 32 and boils at 212 under normal atmospheric conditions. So I want you to know here that freezing and boiling points, those are the things that Spirit want you to ponder on. What is your freezing point? What is the point at which you say to yourself, oh, you know what, I tried everything, this doesn't concern me anymore? What is your boiling point, where when someone says a specific word or a specific sentence, when someone has a specific kind of, should I say energy, when someone approaches you in a very certain way, it brings you to your boiling point. So it's understanding that these are polar opposite points, but at the same time they can be extremely close to one another. You may swing either way very quickly in just a split second. Like when you have someone who is a family member or a close friend and they know exactly how to rile you up and to get your blood boiling, you may very quickly in a split second go from boiling to absolutely cold once you realize, why do I even give someone the power to know where my boiling point is and to activate that at their will? And then I'm at their mercy. And it's not that everyone who gets you to your boiling point wants you to get to your boiling point or is like a bad person. It's just that they know how to do it. And the question is, do you allow that boiling point to be triggered by anyone? So here in the Six of Wands, I want you to know with this peacock that we've got depicted and the meanings of the Six of Wands, which is the six of the element of fire, as the wands corresponds to just that. And it is a phallic symbol, so a masculine energy that we've got in the Six of Wands. It's about you taking action on your perspective. So for example, creating a vision board. For example, making sure you visualize every single day. Taking action on the parts of your career where you want an increase in your success, an increase in income, an increase in the opportunities coming your way. And the Knight of Cups shows us that rather than kind of bitching about things, rather than being upset, just doing and understanding that, yeah, of course, if you don't focus on doing, nothing's going to happen. And putting your feelings aside, being very stoic about life. That is what I'm getting here for you, my beautiful soul, that your guides want you to begin to practice Stoicism. So not allowing for things to rattle you just like that. Seeing everything from the perspective of, okay, and. So someone said something that would have triggered previous you, your previous self. Okay, and you don't have to react to that now, do you? You don't have to react to those trigger points at all. I see here within Saturn that we're getting to a deep understanding of who you are, and Saturn is actually the planet of helping you figure out on a deeper level who you are by definition. Saturn is the heavenly body of responsibility, of being organized, of taking authority over your life, being mature in that. And Saturn being part of your reading shows us that your guides can see that today Saturn is really playing a number on you. Saturn is making you wake up and kind of mature even more, a little faster. Look at that, we've got winter. So winter in correspondence to Fahrenheit shows us here that actually you're being encouraged to find that freezing point. Now your boiling point is not your friend. Sometimes your boiling point can be helpful if you're doing a work project, if you're doing something where you need passion, you need, more speed, you need to be this person who isn't afraid to be a little hot, to be a little hot-tempered. But I see here that actually at this point in your life, it's about calmness, it's about winter, it's about freezing. It is about taking yourself away from reactivity. And right now, right here, your updates to your system will have you, as already mentioned, more into Stoicism than into reactivity. And that's the healthiest place for you to be right now. Reactivity is not your friend. Reactivity is something we are giving you a rehabilitation from, because you don't need the stormy weather. Now, my gorgeous soul, this is the reading that I've received for you. I am excited for you to implement this, and wherever you are in this world, I want you to know that I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait for us to connect in one of your upcoming predictions. Hello, my gorgeous soul of group number 2. You chose the Grape Agate point crystal, which is so iconic and beautiful. Look at this, group number 2. This is such a unique stone that you chose, and it's said to bring balancing energy with it and to help you be able to make the best of these upcoming steps in your life and all the opportunities coming towards you. I just want to say right off the bat, before we get into your reading with the Pastel Journey Tarot, that I want you to take the messages that resonate with you, leave whatever doesn't, because we are going to be getting extremely specific here within your reading. And all of these details may not always make sense in the moment as you're receiving your reading. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time to sink in and for you to understand why you received this within your tarot card prediction. Now, first up, we had the Ten of Wands that popped right out of the card deck as I was shuffling the cards. The Ten of Wands indicates that it is time for you to take a step back in the next weeks. From the time of you receiving this reading, and this is a timeless psychic prediction, which means that whenever it is that you tuned into this reading was the perfect time for you to receive it, because nothing just happens randomly. Everything happens for a reason. And you receiving the Ten of Wands brings the reason that you're exhausted, you're tired, group number 2. You have been putting everyone else's needs and wants before your own. Everything seems to be more important than you actually relaxing and taking some time out for yourself. And your guides are trying to say to you in the Ten of Wands that now it's time to focus on recuperating and your own self-care, because you are risking your health, group number 2. And at the end of the day, as cheesy as it sounds, your health really is your wealth. And to compromise your health, there's not much on this planet that is worth compromising your health, because think about it. If you fall ill tomorrow and you cannot go to your job, how quickly do you think they're going to have an ad up for someone to replace you? Meanwhile, you are here struggling, battling whatever it is that you would be going through, and nobody would be there to support you or to show up. So do you really want to compromise your health in a situation in which, yeah, if something does happen because you are compromising your health for your work or to perform and show up and to make money, would they show up the way you're showing up, killing yourself for work? Would they show up like that if you couldn't perform anymore? Or are you just seen as basically like a number who should do as many tasks for as low cost as possible and replaceable, in the sense of if you break, who cares? You're out. They're just going to replace you with the next one. So every situation is different, but when you look at it from this very real standpoint, and I myself, as well as your guides here on this channel, we like honesty, we like realness, we don't like to sugarcoat things. It will give you a lot of clarity and also a sense of peace the next time you want to take that nap, to not feel guilty, because why? Next up, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So your guides are literally reiterating, I don't even think we need the cards at this point on this channel anymore, because the connection to your guides has truly been so deep, so precise. The Queen of Pentacles is the queen of everything that has to do with the element of earth. So your professional life, your finances, your health, your time management. The Queen of Pentacles is in control of these areas of life, but the queen also brings that queen energy of never being in a rush, never having this energy of being scattered or anxious or worried, but instead trusting that everything will work out just as it has in the past, and that everything is figure outable. So this Queen of Pentacles energy showing up for you is how Spirit wants you to replace any energy that you've had up until this point that has just been stressful or scattered and all over the place. Here within the star for you, group number 2, I can see that Spirit sees hope on the horizon when it comes to the areas of your life where you're feeling stressed. I see health and money is definitely something Spirit wants to talk to you about here within the star, which is one of the most favorable cards of the tarot. What comes next is a change in how these areas of your life are functioning, and it is a change for the better. The way you can trigger that change is through taking rest, as the Ten of Wands is a card that actually often also depicts someone who is on their last leg to having to turn around their life and just realize you can't keep going like this. Burnout is not real until it hits you, just as being depressed and depression isn't real until you've got it. Trigger warning. Having an ED seems silly until you have experienced it. And I want you to understand here that this is exactly what your guides want to protect you from. This feeling that it won't be you until it is you. So rest now. Worry about other people's opinions never. Not later, but never. I see here within the Hierophant, we've got the number 5. The number 5 is a number of, if necessary, you can fight. And group 2, you've always been the kind of person who likes to take on amicable solutions. I do get from you that you are a very eccentric person. I get that from the crystal of your choice. You are not afraid of things that are different. You're not afraid to explore different paths and also to embrace people who are not ordinary, who are different in the sense of they dress differently. They have a different kind of life philosophy. When you're in a room, those people who stick out like a sore thumb, because in many ways, you can relate to them. In many ways, you have been the underdog and the black sheep in your family. I see that here in the Hierophant. You believe different things, so even just your spirituality, your connection to source, to your angels, your guides, perhaps you for a while have even been into spells and witchcraft and magic and crystals and all of these things out of curiosity, but also because you're the kind of person who knows a little bit about everything. So you know a little bit about most topics. You don't fear anything because you think to yourself, if it exists, if we can think it, then surely it's not something to be afraid of. You don't demonize anything. And the Hierophant here is indicative that what comes next in your life is actually that you are the person that now all of a sudden your friends and your family, they come to when they need advice. Because all of a sudden that person who was telling you, oh, be careful with these readings, these oracle cards, etc., all of a sudden they're dating a shaman. All of a sudden they're buying these crystal earrings and they want to know what it means. All of a sudden they are getting into this epiphany that they can use spirituality to their advantage. And who else to come to than the person who they shunned before for this? You, group number 2. And whether you want to support another person or help them out after they have shown you that they don't fully support you is, of course, completely your decision. I just want you to be aware of the fact that you don't have to be the bigger person. I'm not going to preach to you, oh, just be the bigger person. There are situations where nobody deserves to have to, on top of what has been done to them, feel this obligation to be the bigger person. So I will never tell you to be the bigger person, group number 2. You know your situation, you know that person. The Page of Cups here shows us that you have dealt with a lot of people who are extremely childish, even though biologically their age should put them in a bracket where they are serious. And I see here in the Hierophant that you have dealt with these people in the form of parents and grandparents who honestly, like, for no reason, childish and drama. And I see here in the Page of Cups that rather than continuing to get annoyed or to see it as a burden, you actually almost feel a little sorry for these people who are extremely childish, because you can tell they don't see it. They're so unraveled within their own childish behavior, their own narcissistic tendencies, that they can't even see it from that perspective. And that to you is like the worst thing that could happen to anyone. So you don't judge, nor do you get mad anymore. And then here within the Knight of Swords reversed, I can see that what Spirit has for you is a Knight of Swords who is ready to come into your life, but are you ready to receive them? The Knight of Swords in reverse shows us that we have got an air sign, so a Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, a young one. One that is within a reasonable amount, like close to your age. And them showing up in reverse, it is indicative of the fact that something is blocking them from coming in. They're clearly here, they've appeared within your reading, but there is just something that is stopping them. You've only got 1 year age difference. That's what we've got here in our Astro Dice. And for some reason, they feel like there is rejection that will be facing them. For some reason, they don't feel 100% like you're ready to receive them. All right, so here we have got the symbol of Sagittarius, first and foremost. And then what we also have here is Uranus. So Sagittarius in Uranus type energy. Uranus, by the way, is the planet of the unusual, the unexpected. So this person will show up in a very unexpected way. It will happen super quickly. Sagittarius energy is fast, fiery, fun, very alive type of energy. And here within Uranus, this is a planet of individuality, of revolution, of changing how you see the world. So I do definitely see here that what comes next is also a connection that changes your worldview. And because you're an open-minded person, you don't have an issue if someone that you're seeing or dating has a different opinion or worldview, group number 2. And I do want you to know that this open-mindedness makes for extreme attraction points to people that you usually would not date. So if, for example, usually you wouldn't date, and by usually dating, I mean you wouldn't even meet someone like this. If you are a creative or a teacher, where would you, for example, meet someone who works in a lab or who works with numbers and finance, right? You are not in the same place. You probably don't go to the same work functions and parties and after work events, so it's going to be hard for you to meet that kind of person. But I see here within the Emperor, Spirit sees and says and encourages you putting yourself out more. And I'm not just going to say, oh, you know, get on an online dating app. Of course, that's a way to meet people who you wouldn't usually meet or usually be able to date. But the Emperor just also says, confidently walk into rooms that previously you did not confidently walk into, and see how the energy shifts when you just have the confidence in you. You don't have to wait for anyone to talk to you or for anyone to validate that you are supposed to be in that room. So I mean a really fancy restaurant or fancy bar, a fancy hotel. For example, getting yourself a upgrade on a flight and using the lounge access that comes with that, going to a beautiful art gallery, a polo game, go play tennis, pickleball. I see here within the Emperor that that is precisely where your guides see you dominating. As soon as you get out of this mindset that, oh, I don't belong, I'm weird, I'm different, I'm not as wealthy, I don't come from this background, I don't look this certain way. Everyone feels that, group number 2. I just want you to be really clear on the fact that almost every single human being has had those thoughts. Even the people whom you look at and you think to yourself, this is the most beautiful person, this person is so elegant, this person is so put together, they are often even the ones with the biggest insecurities. So I don't want you to feel as though you are the odd one out on this, because you are not. Let's see what else that we've got here. Okay, so Spirit has this message for you. This is a quote from the movie Gone with the Wind. You're throwing away happiness with both hands and reaching out for something that will never make you happy. So Spirit just wants to reiterate to you, as Spirit is clearly listening to the messages that are being channeled, Spirit is guiding everything, and Spirit just wants to reiterate to you, stop throwing away your happiness with both hands, in the sense of feeling like you don't fit in. None of us, quote unquote, fit in. It's not like there's anyone who is like the one scale on which we're measuring everything. Of course, there are beauty standards, but everyone has something that doesn't 100% match that. Like if you have the perfect body, maybe you don't have the quote unquote perfect hair, or your ears stand out. Or if you have the perfect mannerisms, perhaps you don't have the perfect clothing style or the perfect way of showing up and speaking your mind, okay? So there will always be something that makes someone imperfect. Some people are closer to what society wants us to be like. Some people are, quote unquote, further away. But who gives a F? Group number 2, sincerely, who gives a F? Because there's also so many rebels, so many unique individuals who broke the mold, who didn't fit into quote unquote anything, but they just did what they wanted to do, and all of a sudden they became the leaders, they became the emperors. And that's the kind of energy that Spirit and your guides have for you here. And they can see that along the way, another message we've received is that there will be helpful people. You have to learn how to accept help. You must learn how to just say yes, group number 2. Because the thing here about your guides, the thing here about your angels and the messages about what's coming next is that so many points along the way on your journey will have this marking, this indent almost, of someone offering you help. And why this is a big marking and a big indent is because their help will make a huge difference. It will cut a lot of time and energy kind of short that you otherwise would have wasted doing unnecessary stuff, which is why it's so important that when you have those helpful people show up in your life, they are angels that are here for a reason. Accept their help and see how things change, okay? Because there is something better out here than the current reality that you are experiencing and existing in, group number 2. That is not to knock all that you have accomplished up until this point. That is not to say your reality isn't good, but there is a better one out here. And the better reality is a reality that you are about to take charge of through the help of helpful people, of people who want to be there for you. They want to give you tips. They want to actually physically give you services. So knowing someone that works, for example, with the law, and you have some legal questions, rather than feeling as though, oh, geez, like I don't know what to do, lawyers are so expensive, literally talk to them, ask them for advice. They may not be able to give you free legal advice, but what if they tell you, hey, there's this insurance, and it actually, for example, exists where I live in Switzerland, and you pay maybe like 300 per year or something, and if you need any kind of legal advice, this insurance covers it. And then you can spare yourself thousands of fees should something come up in the future. And the thing here is sometimes when you're shy to ask other people, or there's no one specific right here, right now that you can ask, and you think to yourself, I don't want to wait a couple extra days or weeks to bump into someone, to have this synchronicity show up of like meeting exactly the person that I had to meet in this moment in order to help me out in my situation. Literally ask your angels, ask your guides. Get into prayer and meditation mode. And I never used to feel comfortable in this. I always thought it was weird, it was strange, but the more I just let go of feeling uptight and actually literally just sit there in stillness with my eyes closed, with my hands like folded into one another in front of my body in like prayer position basically. And I just say, Spirit, what do you want me to do right now? Like, how can you use me for your highest good? Because I know that when you use me for your highest good, it's going to be for my highest good as well. And I'm going to have everything that I desire and more. And that's where your angels can see what comes next is you being more assertive than you've ever been. And you will be shocked at yourself and who you have become and your mannerisms, because all of a sudden, someone comes up and talks to you. In the past, you would have like entertained some nonsense. And I'm not talking about someone with whom you're having a elegant, like mindful conversation with. I'm talking like the catcalling kind of energy. And you in the past may have tried to be polite or nice, but now you being so assertive that you just don't even allow it. Your energy makes it completely clear that your boundaries have changed. And the more you are like that, the more helpful people also come into your life, because they know that you are to be respected. And the Temperance card in reverse, it does show us that you're going back to some habits and patterns that you had unlearned. This doesn't always have to be negative. I know, Temperance reverse, all right, we're eating the unhealthy, the fried foods, we're not going to the gym as much, we're not drinking as much water. I mean, we've all been there, we've all slipped up, it's happened to all of us. After all, we are not robots, we are doing the best that we can. It's not easy to try to be fit, in shape, eat healthy things, have a social life, go to the gym, educate yourself, read, do your hair, do skincare, have a clean and organized home, do life admin, try to meet up with your family. I mean, the list is really endless. Even just saying it, it's like, how do we find time for all of this? So it's only natural and normal that in certain instances, you may fall back into some coping habits and mechanisms that you actually, for a while, spent some time trying to get rid of. The Knight of Wands shows us that as soon as you notice this, it's like game on for you. You never let yourself slip too far behind anymore, because the thing is, you had hit rock bottom, and when you hit rock bottom, you would have wished that you stopped sooner with the bad habits. You stopped sooner with the negative self-talk, because you realized it just really wasn't worth it. Sure, eating the cake and the ice cream, it is really comforting. It can be really nice, honestly, but then at the same time, it's like, was it really necessary? Is that really something that you had to have, or could you have lived without it and therefore have been healthier, happier with your body, and just felt more energized, you know? And when you realize, no, it was never really worth it, and I can't excuse my unhealthiness just because my ex broke up with me or things were challenging at my job. It just shows us here within the Five of Swords, you're exiting any kind of victim mentality that you may have entertained in the past, because you just realize, why? There's no point. Like, sure, I can paint myself to either myself or others as the victim, and maybe I really am, quote unquote, the victim, but I can also just be a survivor who thrived. Because being the victim and, for example, having people show you sympathy, I mean, great, but what comes thereafter, right? It's not going to actually solve the problem. It's not going to actually change your reality. It's just a little band-aid for the moment. And next up, we have the Eight of Cups. I see you walking away from people who have this victim mentality, because you were not born to be this person who constantly complains and in a way creates a lot of their own struggle. You were always meant to be a leader. You were always meant to be the type of person who falls down 9 times, gets up 9 times as well. They say fall like 9 times, get up 10, but you can also just get up 9 times, I'm just noticing. So anyways, coming back to your reading, yeah, you have had the bumps in the roads, but that doesn't mean that you will let that define you. So here we have a deep question from your guides. What habits or traits in other people do you love? Why do you love those? Now, you may, for example, love someone who is successful. You may love someone who's caring, who's loyal. What if I told you, group number 2, that you love those traits in that person because actually you've got a lot of those traits? Actually, you can see yourself in those traits. Think about it. You probably don't give yourself enough credit for the beautiful traits that you do possess and that you do bring to the table. Now, let's get a little more deeply into this, shall we? Dreams and goals. Here we go. If you were famous, what would you want to be known for? I'd love for you to actually let me and others know in the comment section, group number 2, if you've made it to this point within the reading. Either let us know what you'd want to be famous for. It can be music, it can be art, it can be helping people, it can just be the funniest person on earth, whatever you would want to be famous for. It could be success, it could be the first person of a certain origin to do X, Y, or Z. Let us know in the comment section, and if you're feeling a little shy, leave a flower emoji below to let me and others know that you watched all the way to the end of your reading. Furthermore, I also want to let you know that now we'll delve into a few more messages that you are meant to receive today about what's coming next and what you can do today at the point of receiving this reading, in order to make the most of all opportunities and of you tapping into the highest version of yourself, group number 2. You don't need to lift a finger, just lean back, relax, and continue to enjoy. Hello, my gorgeous soul, and welcome to another reading that you're meant to receive right now. Let's see what Spirit needs you to know moving forward. First up, we've got fire. Step into your confidence, your optimism, your passion, and your bravery. We have a symbol of a heart here that is winged. We also have a candle, as well as a bright light that's being emitted from it. What this represents is fire sign energy. Fire sign energy is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius type of energy. This is the energy of being enthusiastic, passionate, spontaneous. And Spirit wants to say to you right now, this is the type of energy to lean into. If you've asked yourself what the solution to some of your challenges truly are, well, the solution is to step into your fiery energy, and also not to use comparison as a thief of joy, but instead using comparison in order to remind you of just how blessed that you truly already are, and using that as fuel to do more. For me, for example, I came to a realization that feeling down, battling blues, feeling very much depressed, reminding myself that there are people out here with absolutely no perspective of life getting better. And that is a space in which I find it more understandable to let your fire go. Not that we ever should. We should always fight. There's always a possibility. However, with how fortunate and blessed that you and I are, Spirit wants to remind us here that we have all of the possibility in the world. Why not use it? Why not lean into it? Now, within the South Node, you are destined to release old patterns, old habits, the old you. You are destined to let go of what doesn't serve you. You are destined to let go anything that dampens your fire, that dampens the fact that you have it in you to take action, to get things done, and to be this person that others look up to and think to themselves, wow, how do they have so much energy? How do they have so much life force? How are they getting everything done seamlessly somehow? So I want you to know here within fire, as well as the South Node, that you are destined to release old patterns and habits that don't serve you. Now, within Neptune, dream and transcend. The heavenly bodies are plentiful. Neptune is the heavenly body of imagination, of your psychic ability as well as the planet of confusion and fears and spirituality and the arts. It's a very mystical kind of planet that helps you to dream and transcend your current reality, leaping a current reality into your desired reality. That is something that is accessible right here, right now, today. As long as you release the old stories of who you were telling yourself that you are, you must release the old identity. You must get rid of the version of you that is anything less than brave, optimistic, confident, and passionate. I do see here within Uranus that there is some radical change coming towards you that Spirit wants to tell you about, or shall I say warn you of, because this change is going to bring a shift that you didn't expect so soon. Now, having some radical change come towards you, it is a positive thing to happen for you. And I also want you to know here that with radical change also comes radical re-identification. So reconfiguring who you are, reconfiguring what you see yourself as a human being, seeing yourself as successful, seeing yourself as someone who can dream and transcend, so who can have a dream and then make it a reality and make it happen. Seeing yourself as someone who doesn't need to wait. Next up, we have the Ten of Blades. Indeed, we do have an ending coming towards us. I see in the Ten of Blades that Spirit is trying to communicate to you, don't be shocked if there is an ending to a relationship, be it a platonic one, be it a potentially romantic one, as we have these blades, these knives, almost seemingly within the back of this individual, which shows us here that your focal point should lay on relationships that are transparent and where you don't have to deal with someone telling you a half-truth or a complete lie even. That's what the Ten of Blades stands for. This honesty and no longer dealing with that. Here within the Strength card, remember, regardless of who comes and goes, you have always got you. You will always be the person that goes to bed with you, that wakes up with you, that has to have your back, and that takes care of you. And it's so important that you honor that role and that position, and that you remember you are stronger than you have given yourself credit for. You are stronger than you know you are. And now's the time for you to allow that strength to transcend the illusion of not being as strong as Spirit sees you as. Here within Boss Up, the message for you that you have to receive right now is to gain strength. Boss up. You are a boss. You don't need to withhold who you are. You don't have to withhold your strength. Stop making yourself small. You're meant to accomplish a lot more professionally as well as financially than you have so far. See how we have these private jet vibes in this luxe outfit? Yes, Spirit can see that that's where you're destined to be. Now, claiming your energy is all about taking your energy back, especially if you feel like your energy has been scattered, like you've been giving everyone and their mother your energy, but yourself. So now's the time to reclaim it, take it back, create space within your schedule for you, rather than feeling like you have to create space for others all the time. Now's the time to be you-centric. Now's the time to remember you're stronger than you've given yourself credit for. Now's the time for us to release the old patterns of doubt within ourselves, within yourself, and instead step into your highest version. Hello, my beautiful soul. Welcome to these messages that you are meant to receive right now. Remember, there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you felt called to this video and felt called to this content, and why you clicked it, why you've tuned in. So let's get into it to see precisely what messages that you are meant to receive. So we're going to fan out the cards right now. in order to receive our first message. I'm getting a here. All right, so we've got the Magician, the number one. Number one in the major arcana within the tarot. This is a very powerful card, especially to receive as the first one within your reading. The Magician gives us a message of starting on a very strong leadership note. You've got all of the tools that you need. We have Pentacles, Cups, Swords, and Wands, which represent all four elements. So we have earth, water, air, as well as fire, and you're in possession of all. And now it's just about what are you going to do with this? So your guides are saying to you, you have all the tools that you need. You're more fortunate than you maybe even realize, but it's like, are you now going to use that? Are you now going to do something with it? Are you now going to show your gratitude by actually making the most of your life and the abilities that you've been given naturally, your quote-unquote God-given abilities? Or are you going to let them go to waste? Are you going to rot away in your room on your couch and just kind of wish and hope for dreams to come true without actually acting towards them? So that's where the Three of Wands is kind of calling you out, and I hope you can appreciate this very honest, straightforward reading today. And this is about checking the clock and understanding at some point the ship has sailed. And the thing is, there are always ships that are setting off, there are always ships that are about to go out into the open ocean. But the question is, what ships are you getting on? Are you getting on the right ones? And are you getting on them at the right time? So are you jumping on opportunities when they arise on time enough to be on a ship that's heading out to where you want to go? Or do you keep getting on ships that are going to places, islands, and locations that are actually not really driving you forward? So these are some questions that Spirit want you to ask yourself. And why do you keep going into the same ships? All right. And then we've got the Death card next, which I want to just make very clear right at the start of this reading of yours. It's not a bad card whatsoever. The Death card actually just represents you becoming aware of a cycle that is not working, needing to end, and starting something fresh in which you can breathe new life into and from which you can benefit far more. So here, just know the Death card represents the end of getting onto the wrong ships, sailing with the right ones, and doing so through having this confidence in knowing you've got all the tools that you need. Everything about you is already perfect. Why are you questioning yourself? There are people with a way shorter track record who don't really know what they're doing at all. They don't question themselves, so why do you? Next up, we've got receive healing. So this also corresponds to the number one. So having two messages which correspond to the number one, I want you to know in numerology, the number one is a number of leadership, taking initiative, taking the lead, and going for it, not being afraid to do so. So are you ready to receive healing? And for you, receiving healing today is about taking the lead of where your life is headed. For you, receiving healing is healing from setting off onto these open waters and ships that you don't belong in. You have really been underestimating what kind of luxury yachts you should actually be on. And you've been going onto these little rubber boats, even though you should really be on those cruises that are out in the Caribbean where they have like 10 different docks. They've got DJs, they've got saunas, they've got 5 different restaurants on board, they've got entertainment, yoga classes. That's what you should really be on. Jet skis, all right? Next up, we've got the 5 of Rods. I see that there is a part of you internally that can feel a little conflicted, especially when it comes to luxury and luxury experiences and giving yourself the absolute best, because it can feel almost a little uncomfortable, especially when you know that there are people out here who go without. You're maybe even in close proximity with them, friends and family. And it makes you feel a little strange, almost like, ooh, should I really be doing this? Should I really be enjoying this? And that's where the Knight of Coins shows up, which I know looks a little scary here within the skull depiction, but that's just how this deck was depicted by the creator of this deck. By the way, this is the Antique Anatomy Tarot, which I purchased by myself a few years ago, and I do really like this deck. Now, the Knight of Coins does show us here that when it comes to the earthly realms, when it comes to enjoying these things, as the Knight of Coins is the Knight of the earthly realms, this is the Knight of the element of earth, everything that pertains to your career, your earthly belongings, your time, your health, your wealth management. This shows us that you're still in the learning stages, so be soft with yourself, be kind to yourself with the fact that, okay, you're getting used to these luxuries, you're getting used to saying, of course I deserve this, you're getting used to this kind of element of having this rich person energy, if that makes sense. And within the sixth house, we have got a house of the zodiac sign of Libra, and this is the house of establishing a foundation, health, daily life, practical details, and having these kind of daily routines that are a little rich, a little wealthy, even if it's just getting face masks, sheet masks for yourself, you can get them for $1. And doing that every single day makes you feel like you're getting a facial treatment every single day. And it just elevates the fact that you, from the inside out, feel like you deserve this, you're worthy of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. And these are rituals that your guides want you to indulge in and do absolutely more of. And then we also have Libra, which I just explained to you, is ruled by the sixth house. And Libra in the sixth house showing up gives us this really strong Libra energy, which is very considerate, fair, and harmonious type of energy that wants balance. And your guides are all about that. They're all about the scale, and they're reminding you that it's not just about balance whenever it's, oh, let's save money, let's be more low-key, let's not overdo it. We also need to be real about balance when you have been undervaluing and underselling yourself, when you have not been giving yourself some of the luxury or high-end experiences that you deserve, that you've worked hard to be able to experience. And if not you, then it's going to be someone else. There's a reason why these items, these experiences exist, and there are people making use of these services day in and day out. That's why these businesses are even in business. Why aren't you one of those people making use of all of these services day in and day out? Why aren't you one of these people who is able to indulge and enjoy these items all the time? There's no reason for you to not be one of them or for you to feel bad. So remind yourself here that sometimes you can overthink things to your own detriment and to the detriment of your enjoyment and of your relaxation. And your guides are trying to communicate to you, it's time for you to quit that. It's time for you to find balance, as in, yeah, you work hard, you also spoil yourself hard. Now, my gorgeous soul, this is the reading that I've received for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I cannot wait for us to connect with each other in one of your upcoming predictions. Hello, my lovely soul of group number 3. You chose the Heavenly Bodies astrology deck as well as the Aquamarine to help guide you to figure out precisely what the next steps are within your life. I can't wait for us to get into your reading. By the way, my name is Vanessa Somuayina. I will be your guide, your psychic medium, and a tarot reader today. And I've been doing this for years. I've got tens and thousands of individual readings on my channel, so you can check those out when you're done watching this reading of yours and receiving these messages. I always recommend that you take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't overthink what does not resonate, because sometimes things take a little bit more time for you to gain clarity. This is a timeless pick a card reading, which means that whenever you tune into this reading is the perfect time for you to be receiving these messages. And that is precisely when you are meant to figure out what the next steps are going to be. Because receiving these messages right here and right now will help to influence the choices that you will make in the upcoming days and weeks of receiving your reading to help you to create the life that you desire. So first up, we've got Mercury. You may have heard this before, people saying Mercury is in retrograde or microwave, however you want to say it, but this is a planet of actually learning, networking, communicating, and when this is in retrograde, so see seemingly going backwards. It's like everything in communication is going backwards as well. So Mercury can either really make or break a situation, and Mercury showing up upright within your reading right at the beginning, my gorgeous soul of group number 3, shows us here that actually what comes next in your life is more organization, clearer communication, and also being the type of person who is very service-minded. Now, Mercury rules the zodiac sign of Gemini and Virgo. Both of these zodiac signs are amazing communicators, great storytellers, and I see here with yin energy that what we've got here is feminine energy that is patient, that is reliable, that is receptive. So what comes next in your life is actually this person who has this Virgo energy in them, right? So up here is the symbol of Virgo, and as I mentioned to you, Mercury is ruled by both Virgo as well as Gemini. And having this energy here for you of someone who is caring, someone who has this very patient, receptive part of them, it shows us that actually you'll be talking to someone who you get along with so well. It's like a new best friend. And this best friend can also be a lover, because don't they say the best relationships do start off on a note of friendship, of really understanding one another? Ooh, we've got the goddess. Group number 3, you are attracting only goddess treatment and goddess energy. You are only attracting fellow goddesses into your life. I see that here within your reading. And you are radiating goddess energy. I know some of you who watch my channel do also identify as male, so please apply that to your situation. That would be a god energy. Now, embracing the feminine energy, that's what we've got here in the goddess, and we all have both feminine and masculine energies within us, and at different times in our lives it will be appropriate to exude either feminine or masculine energy. And right now the next steps of your life are about feminine energy. That's the energy of receiving. So receiving money, receiving other people's kind gestures and words, receiving attention. And when you are in the receiving energy, it allows you to be more gentle and caring, creative, but still strong. And the message that we've got here is to not listen to those who want to keep you small. Believe that you are as important as the stars in the heavens. Believe that you too belong. You too have rights. You too are here to say what it is that you are okay with and have boundaries for the things that you don't want in your life, and that there's nothing different between you and, for example, a celebrity or a CEO or a high-powered attorney, someone like that. There's no difference between you and this other individual, rather than the story that we have told ourselves about what their job means, or what their bank account means, or what it means to have gone to a certain school. But in actuality, we all have the potential to be everything and everyone. Here within gratitude, what comes next for you is actually the sensation of feeling super grateful for the things that you do have, rather than focusing on the things that you can't have. And really coming to this realization that gratitude is another form of prayer, and practicing this daily is actually enforcing the energy that you are ready for more. For example, if you have a business that you're trying to start or you're trying to grow, being grateful for feedback, for every email, even if it's just a question and it's not a sale, even if it's someone just saying to you, oh, I really need help with X, Y, or Z, be grateful for the fact that someone has this interest. Be grateful for the fact that you are receiving feedback. For every single comment on your social media, every single repost, every single time someone interacts, even if it seems small compared to channels that are getting millions of views and clicks and comments. This is just about realizing that also what is it that you want? Do you want this renewal and rebirth into fame? Or do you want to be financially successful? Because I have had some really wild encounters with people, with private clients, with people who are part of Psychic CEO, and they don't have a lot of followers. But the thing is, they are prevalent within their niche. They've come to this idea of like, do I want a lot of followers and people think of me as okay, or they like to follow me for entertainment value? Or am I trying to actually build my business and serve a very specific group of people and actually make money doing so? Because the thing is, you don't need millions of views in order to have a business or in order to be successful and to receive. You just need to target the right people with the right product. But a lot of people focus just on views, just on these types of numbers that in the end do not make a difference necessarily to the bottom line. Sometimes your bottom line is even worse when you're putting out viral content because people are not purchasing. They are just looking at the viral content. So this is some business advice that Spirit has for you for the next steps. Focus on being very niche, very specific, and people giving you a clear yes in your niche. People looking for a solution that you have to offer. Do that, do it well, before you move on to spreading yourself too thin, diversifying too much, because everyone always talks about, oh, diversifying, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. But I think a lot of us have come to the point where we've diversified too much, or we have put too many eggs in too many different baskets that we can't even keep up with, and we don't even know where all of the eggs in all of the baskets are anymore. And not a lot of people talk about that. And that can also be very difficult and challenging to scale back, so you can then go deep again. Once you stop spreading yourself so thin, you can focus on more specific parts of your life again. The same thing goes for relationships, romantic ones too. If you have been spreading yourself way too thin with chores, work, trying to be there for them, cooking, cleaning, kids, pets, the entire arsenal, you have to come to the realization that maybe it's time for you to value your energy and your time a little more and be specific about what matters the most, rather than just basically unaliving yourself constantly, because that will build resentment and you won't be able to show up the way that you truly want to. The Nine of Swords begs you to give yourself the best of you. Leave the rest of you for everyone else. Because you've been doing it the other way around, group number 3. You've been giving everyone the best of you, and you just have whatever's left of you. And there are very few situations in which Spirit wants you to be encouraged to do so, and it's only for a limited amount of time. Like if someone is actually in danger that is life-threatening, if there is a loved one of yours that truly, truly needs you right now in a very emergency situation kind of way. But unless it's something like that, please take rest. That's what your guides are trying to say to you. Take the nap, sleep. Group number 3, I literally just got up from a nap and then started to continue to film because I'm not going to stress myself out. I am absolutely not going to create readings, channel, messages, do any kind of energy work when I'm exhausted. I'm not doing it because I love myself too much to fall into that spiral. And I love you guys too much to give you that kind of subpar quality of tarot reading and psychic prediction. Now, the Ten of Wands is another reiteration of this. The Ten of Wands is literally a card that tells you, you are at your wit's end. Up until here, no more. You will burn yourself out if you continue like this. The goddess energy is the receiving energy. Receive, 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 group number 3. Stop giving. There is a season for giving, there's a season for receiving, and when you're so used to the season of giving and you season after season kind of skip your turn to receive, it puts you into a state of lack. It also puts you into a state of energetic debt where you are meant to receive far more. It's like this huge accumulation of now you probably have to learn to receive for a lot longer. But what we want eventually is balance, right? We don't want any kind of debt. We don't want any type of feeling of, okay, I should be receiving and I still haven't done so and it's been forever. Here we've got a message in form of a quote from the Lion King. I'm only brave when I have to be. Being brave doesn't mean you go looking for trouble. Remember, you only need to give when it's necessary. You don't always have to be pouring out. And yeah, group number 3, I'm telling you basically to be more selfish. I don't know when this became something negative, and I actually find it concerning how society makes being selfish seem like it's so negative. Meanwhile, the more that we take care of ourselves and we've got better health, the more we can actually then give quality to others and be decent human beings. Also, the less people will end up in hospital, the less people will end up needing treatment for mental illness, because we're actually taking care of ourselves and things aren't spiraling out of control because we're so busy trying to keep up with the demands of the modern world and work demands and always just pouring out, pouring out, pouring out. So your guides are saying now is a season to receive, and just only be quote unquote brave when you have to be. From now on, only give when you have to. Okay, you have this work assignment to do it, put your masculine energy into it, but then retreat back into the feminine energy. Then retreat back into people serving you, people doing things for you. And I know group number 3, you may ask yourself, well, how? I feel really uncomfortable. This is just so not me, etc., etc. I get it, group number 3, but if not now, then when are you going to learn? I'm just wondering, because have you not said that you will postpone something to later before and it's just still not even happened? So like, if not now, then when are you finally going to be in your receiving energy, in true feminine energy? And it has nothing to do with your gender. It has everything to do with what you allow. And Spirit now wants you to allow people to do for you, to serve you, to give you things physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. The Hermit is representative of your introverted side. And your introverted side right now is going to serve you in many ways, because nobody needs to know that your favorite tarot reader and big sis from the internet, Vanessa Somuayina, told you to take that nap, and actually instead of doing home office, you are recuperating a little bit, you're taking the nap. I mean, as long as the work gets done and it gets done well, I don't understand, why do we have to be working for 8 hours or 10 hours per day and like make it seem like, oh, I have to have that many hours? Because time is definitely malleable, time is like flexible. Have you ever noticed that if you have an hour and a half to get ready to go out, you will take an hour and a half? If you have 45 minutes, half of that, all of a sudden, it will only take you 45 minutes to get ready. Funny how that works, isn't it? So the Ten of Swords here, I know the Ten of Swords looks a little scary, a little concerning. The universe, your guides, your angels, we are concerned for you, group number 3. We are really concerned with how much you have just been able to disregard your needs for sleep, your basic human rights and needs for healthy food, for 8 hours a night of sleep, for free time just for you, where you're not taking care of anyone else. It is concerning what you have been putting your mind and your body and your soul through. And I don't want to scare you, group number 3, but this is, in a sense, protection, and I want you to see it as such, because sometimes there is divine intervention for protection. You remember that time that you perhaps had this crush on this guy, and he was so cool and hot, and you wish that you would have forever with him, and he kept giving you, in many ways, the cold shoulder. You'd stay up all night, and that good night text or that talk to you later text, it would never come. Some nights it would, some nights it wouldn't. He would be notoriously unreliable, which made you even more hooked to the dopamine hits that you got when he did reply and when he did behave in a way that gave you safety. Because whenever someone just pulls it out from under your feet, it creates this addictive spiral of chemicals in your brain. Dopamine, serotonin, and having this cortisol within your bloodstream, it makes for a very potent combination that makes us almost crazy and wild. And the thing here is that Spirit wants you to know that putting yourself through this, what did it teach you? It taught you that if it's stressing you out, it's first of all not going to last, and second of all, it's not meant to be. And the divine intervention is often that these people don't end up staying in our lives forever, or they remove themselves, and we get really sad because we're like, oh, we wanted to be with them, but it was never meant to be. So the protection is them finding someone else, moving on to someone who for some reason fulfills some sort of need that maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't chase them the way that they wanted you to. Maybe they saw that you've got too many friends and family around you that wouldn't let them completely destroy you. And I know this sounds deep and dark and heavy, but can we just also be real about the human experience having some deep and dark and heavy moments and pockets? Because after all, if we can't talk about that, are we even in a sincere, real psychic prediction? Now, the Page of Diamonds, it does show us that taking rest is going to help you to discover some skills and talents that you have professionally that before you were not able to embrace because, well, you were too tired. You were just constantly doing work things. You had no time for anything other than work. And the Page of Diamonds shows us here that that will actually give you some financial gain that you didn't expect. And you think to yourself, okay, finally. It was a struggle all of these years. I asked myself how real adults do it, you know? And then when you come to realize, oh, there are actually ways how I can create safety for myself, all of a sudden you start to chill. All of a sudden the cortisol, the stress hormone, starts to go down. Now here within the Eight of Swords, I do see for you, group number 3, that a lot of your constraints are mental constraints. The Suit of Swords is the suit of things in the mental realm, which shows us that in many ways when you feel like you can't do something or you're afraid of doing something, actually it's just in your head. Actually, it's literally you being worried, but that worry, it hasn't even showed up yet. You know, the thing that you were worried about that is like not working out, it has not even come to fruition. The Two of Diamonds is representative of two different parts of your life in the earthly realm, so your job and your health being on polar opposite ends and having to juggle both in a way that almost seems like I'm gonna have to work magic to make this work out. But the thing is, when you see it as such, as we spoke about in the Eight of Swords, when you see it as difficult, it becomes difficult. When you say to yourself, oh, this is easy, it becomes easy. And I want you to use the power of your mind and your thoughts way more than you have been, because a message that I'm getting here is you've been using your thoughts to make things heavy and hard. You've been using your thoughts. I'm getting an anchor. I'm getting the image of an anchor that is kind of pulling everything down, that is keeping you anchored in the sea. Water is representative of emotion that is keeping you anchored in a space where you cannot go literally anywhere. You're just anchored in the sea, anchored in emotions. And emotions can be unsettling when you're sitting in the same ones always, because you're anchored and you can't move anywhere else and you can never get to shore. So that's what I'm getting visually for you. So that means that the next steps for you are steps where you're being called to focus on growth and to work on your fears and your doubts and why they're here. And we're going to start the work together, so you already have a heads up. Group number 3, what's the biggest thing you've been in denial about recently? What would it take to work through that denial? Let me and others know in the comment section if you feel like you want to be brave, like you want to share, and you already want to do the work. You already want to put in the self-development work and share what the biggest thing has been that you're in denial about. And more importantly, what do you think it would take to work through that denial? Because sometimes we just have to become clear on what we have been struggling with, what we're in denial about, to then also be real and just say, actually, the only thing that it would take is just me being brave and just doing it. me just getting over myself, getting over my fears, and just putting myself out there and just doing the task that needs to be done, because often fear takes up so much more time and space and energy and room than the actual task that we're afraid of. And there's this thing, it's called Eat the Frog. There's a book that's called Eat the Frog, and it basically tells you to, like, first thing in the morning, just always do the most yuckiest, ugliest task, as though you are at a dinner and someone is asking you, okay, like, when would you eat the frog? Would you eat the frog before the dinner so you can enjoy the rest of the dinner, or after the dinner have to eat the frog? But either way, you have to eat the frog. There's no way out. And the whole point of this is to eat the frog first so you can enjoy the rest of the dinner. And for any of you who want to eat the frog later, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. Eating the frog first is definitely where it's at for productivity, for mental health, and for calmness rather than anxiety. So next up here within the Ace of Swords, your guides can see that what comes next is when this becomes easier for you. Quote unquote, eating the frog, doing the tasks you've been procrastinating, the stuff you've been in denial about. What then all of a sudden happens is you start to find pleasure in this pain, and you start to, like, think, who am I? Like, why am I all of a sudden finding pleasure in the pain of doing things that before I hated to do and I really did not enjoy? And I see here within the Four of Wands that this actually is an indication of what type of parent that you are going to be. If you're already a parent, you will notice this firsthand happening in the relationship that you have with your child and with your parenting. For those of you who are not parents, the Four of Wands shows us here that it makes you so much more stable and dependable, because your mood starts to become really even. You start to become more calm. You start to become this person that no one is ever afraid to ask for anything, because you handle everything with a kind of gentle, receptive goddess energy where people feel safe to share. We also have here the Four of Wands. We had the number 42 in gratitude. We had 24 in goddess. And then we have 41 here in this renewal and rebirth card. So the number 4 is constantly reoccurring. We had the Four of Diamonds. The number 4 is that number of stability, of calmness and tranquility that says so much about the next steps within your life. Now, the Seven of Cups opens up the options. For my singles, what this does is you have better options in love, because nobody wants to deal with someone who is batshit crazy, so to say, and is constantly hysterical and is difficult to deal with. Nobody wants that. And because you have evolved so much from, even just think about your first relationship and some situations in which you were drama unnecessarily, to who you are today, the upgrades are insane. And the Ten of Pentacles is indicative that what comes next is actually fulfillment in the earthly realm, in the sense of your finances, your time, your relationships, how you feel, just feeling at ease and at peace and doing everything in your own time and being able to chill, being able to really have like that family of yours, that stability, people who you can count on, and enjoying life to the fullest in a way that you're not constantly stressed, you're not constantly on the go. You can also just sit, lean back, and relax what's happening within your life, group number 3. So we are going to delve more deeply into some messages that you are meant to receive today. There are additional parts now to your reading. You don't have to lift a finger. Just continue to lean back, relax, and enjoy this tarot card prediction of yours, which is put together from multiple different readings. Precisely everything that you need to hear about the next steps in your life, but also some things that you are meant to receive right here, right now, today, that you can use as actionable steps and as pieces of information. So it's not just a tarot reading that is generally telling you what's happening and what's going on, but you can actually use this information to make your life better. You can use this information to become the most successful, highest version of yourself, and also to just soothe your soul. All right, my channel is created to be a healing, safe space. If you love this, of course, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to send this video to a friend who you know would really love to receive a reading. You can even see if they chose the same group as you did during the intro. I always love comparing what group I would choose with my friends who watch my videos, because it is so fun to see what we're each drawn towards and what messages we were each meant to receive. And yeah, group number 3, just continue to relax into this reading and we'll delve a little more deeply into everything that you as a gorgeous soul of group number 3 are meant to hear and to receive right now. Welcome to another one of your readings. Let's get into what messages that your guides have to share with you today. So let's see what you need to know. First up, we've got the waning gibbous 2. It's time for you to indulge in some more pleasure, especially if you've been refraining from having fun, from indulging in pleasure. We also have the number 18, so obviously this is 18 plus kind of activities that we're talking about. But pleasure is not just something that is sexual, for example. Pleasure can also mean indulging in your favorite foods, indulging in your favorite TV shows, doing a little bit of online shopping. You know what I mean? Your guides want you to have a good time and to enjoy, and remind yourself that life isn't just about working. Next up, we've got the supermoon. Now today you are a huge attraction point. And we've got the number 44, which is a master number that you are drawing into your life in form of synchronicities. Now here within the supermoon, I want you to understand that attraction and attracting more of what you desire, as well as a lot of other people's attention, is something that you did not expect at this point in time and at this point in your life. However, it's coming for you regardless, and it's time that you get ready with the waxing crescent 6 for the path laying ahead to be cleared. There is a direct route, a direct portal to a new beginning for you, to the life of your desires. And not only have you attracted this path, but it is now accessible to you. You will receive a message, an email, a phone call that will allow for you to say, you know what, yes, I am going to look into that new job position. I am going to say yes to this date. I am going to allow myself to try this new business venture, because I know that at the end of the day, I don't need to chase. I attract all that I desire, and I'm good enough in order to get to those places. Next up, we've got the 9 of Elixirs, which is actually one of the most prosperous cards of the tarot. The 9 of Elixirs is the 9 of Cups card. It is basically the genie in a bottle card, and this shows us that when it comes to your life, there is nothing that you wish for, ask for, or desire that isn't going to be yours. And you needed this confirmation from your guides in order to rest assured that you are on the right path, which you are getting the message right now that yes, continue on this path. Be generous with your time. The 6 of Blades is a card of moving from a place of feeling anxious and overthinking to actually remembering who the F you are and that you've already come so far. Everything from here on out is going to be a piece of cake. It's not going to be hard. And I want you to understand here within the 6 of Blades that now's your time to shine. And the 7 of Elixirs shows us that you've also got a lot of different options, especially when it comes to romance and professional opportunities. But you've got to open your eyes and open your mind to seeing those. It's all about perspective at the end of the day. And some of us have a perspective of seeing all that is here for us and all that we have attracted, and some of us struggle with seeing things from that perspective. And your guides want you to start to focus on being crystal clear about what you have manifested and what is in your life, because in so many ways you've underestimated yourself. So many times you have thought to yourself, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not intelligent enough. That was such false information, and I want you to see crystal clearly who you are. Your guides are urging you to see it and to not let another day, week, month, or year go by without you stepping into your highest confidence. Wow, we've got Know Your Worth. Now, this card is pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to reiterate what your guides want to say to you today. That is to know your worth, to stand on it, and to add tax. There is no reason to back down when there are certain requirements that you have for potential suitors, for anyone in your life, really. You don't have to feel as though your requirements are too big, too high, or you're asking for too much, because you're not. You're actually just stating what you desire. You're stating your boundaries, and you must have boundaries. You must know your worth. You must be that person who says, this is what I want in my life, and I know that others have already accomplished this. I'm not asking for too much. This is what I deserve. And then stand on it, and let anyone who cannot deliver walk out of your life, and know that you just saved yourself from a life of regrets where you felt like, oh, if only you would have stuck to your standards and upheld them, maybe now you'd be living a different life, a life that puts you in more ease and allows you to feel as though, yeah, you know what? I am living my dream. I am living everything that I deserve. So uphold your standards, see crystal clear who you are, what you've accomplished, and how worthy and desirable that you truly are. And let this reading sink in to your subconscious and allow you to be filled with the confirmation that you are on the right path. My gorgeous soul, I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that you found it insightful. Hello, my gorgeous soul. Welcome to another reading that you are meant to receive. So let's get into it to figure out precisely what Spirit wants to say to you, shall we? So first up, we have respect as well as grateful. My gorgeous soul, how many times have you had a situation in which you actually found, you know what? I gotta be grateful and respect myself a lot more. I gotta be grateful when I feel disrespected in a certain situation, that people are showing their true colors, which means that I can choose to decline. I can choose to say no to the behavior. I can choose to say no to that treatment. I don't have to agree to it. I don't have to be fine with it. I get to decide. So it puts you into a position of power when you respect yourself, and you're totally unafraid to act on your self-respect. You're totally unafraid to actually say no and to set boundaries and to show others that your self-respect is what comes first, and no, you're not compromising it. Next up, we have your intuition. Look at areas in your life that need decisive action. Search your heart for the right answers. Listen to messages that come from your intuition and follow through. That's what Spirit wants you to do today. Make sure that the areas of your life that need decisive action are looked at critically, are looked at through the lens of, how can I use my gut feeling to just make this decision, to stop procrastinating and to move on? Because one thing about especially business, money, your professional life, is that money and business, these things love speed. They love to happen quickly. When you take too long, you lose opportunities. And Spirit wants you to nurture your decision-making muscle and to strengthen it, to take time engaging with it, and to take care of your needs first when you feel super indecisive. Because sometimes when you're super indecisive, it's not actually the indecisiveness in itself that's the issue. It's the fact that you're not taking care of yourself, you're not nurturing yourself, so you're feeling tired, your body is lethargic, and it's hard for you to focus. So nurture the new in your life, watch it grow. Your nurturing will benefit others only if your own needs are met first. So I want you to understand that in order to nurture others, in order to be there for others, you first also need to learn to be there for yourself. If you're not there for yourself, how can you be there for others? How can you be an amazing friend, daughter, mother, business partner, just person in general, if you're not taking care of yourself? Next up, we have the tree. Ground yourself and use trees for grounding. When I go out for walks, I literally put my hands, the palms of my hands on the tree trunks in order to transfer energy, to emit the energies that I don't want onto the tree to help neutralize and ground me, because trees are super powerful grounding agents. And because they're so powerful and they have so much of this ability to kind of take away energies that we no longer desire having within our lives, trees are the perfect accomplice on your journey to cleansing. And I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm transmitting negative energy onto this tree, I'm doing something bad. I want you to know here that the tree can take the little bit of energy that you're putting onto it as, just imagine its roots and how far into the earth the roots span and how much weight the roots bear and hold, how much weather that this tree is able to withstand. So a little bit of energy transfer from you is certainly not going to harm the tree. Quite the contrary. In the waterfall, I want you to know that the tree effortlessly will absorb, and you will effortlessly increase the energy within you that feels like it's light, that feels like you've gotten rid of the heaviness that you never wanted and you actually never deserved. But sometimes life does give us some heaviness that we have to deal with, that we have to learn to cope with, to process, to do something about. And your guides are explaining to you that in life sometimes we're being taught to deal with heavy emotion by being shown the same lesson over and over again until we actually learn to give it away, to give the unwanted energies either to the tree, into meditation, to spirit, to a situation where we're leaving it behind. We're walking away, right? We've got our swords here, we're walking away, and it's almost like sneaking off from a situation that was never meant to be yours and that was never meant to influence you negatively, and understanding that you don't have to stay where you're quote unquote not wanted, or you feel as though you're constantly between, two challenging opposing forces. The Two of Swords is a decision-making card. It is a card of deciding, doing, moving forward, having that masculine phallic energy, and deciding even if you don't know where to go next, even if you're not sure what to do. It's about making the decision and trusting and knowing that making a decision is better than making none. Making a decision that isn't perfect, still better than not making a decision at all. That's what Spirit is communicating to you here within the Two of Swords, my gorgeous soul. This is the reading we received for you today, and I hope it was insightful and you enjoyed it wherever you are in this world. I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect with you in your upcoming prediction. Hello, my beautiful soul of group number 4. Welcome to your reading. My name's Vanessa Somuayina. I will be your reader today. I have published tens of thousands of individual readings on my YouTube channel to date, and today you chose the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck as well as the Labradorite crystal in order to receive your reading about the next steps that are coming towards your life. Now, right off the bat, I would like you to leave a crescent moon emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you chose group number 4, because if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. The only way you would know to leave that emoji below is if you are part of group number 4. Now, let's get into it, my gorgeous soul. I also just want to remind you that I will be channeling these messages using tarot, oracle cards, as well as some other fun and inquisitive divination tools, and I will of course also be using my intuition and my psychic abilities. Now let's get into this well-rounded reading of yours. First and foremost, we have the Two of Air. As you can see, one side of this card and this individual is black, the other side is white. This card is all about duality. We're also getting Gemini energy. Gemini is an air sign, and I want you to know here that what we have coming next is you feeling like you have a light and a dark side, a light and a shadow side that you're trying to unify. You're trying to find where the light side begins and it ends. And I do also see here that you've always kind of struggled with, on one hand, being the bigger person, being the person who lets things go, who doesn't partake in any unnecessary battles. And then you ask yourself, all right, at what point do I speak my mind? At what point do I stand up for myself? At what point do I actually set a boundary? And feeling as though setting boundaries, asking for help, or telling someone what you will and will not accept, almost as though that makes you the dark side, like that is a bad thing, it makes you a difficult person, which it doesn't, group number 4, in case no one has ever told you this. But there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're currently spending time with your big sis from the internet. After all, they say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So tuning into this reading is going to have an impact of empowering you to set your boundaries and to not feel as though it automatically makes you all bad or all dark side, all right? We both have both sides to our personality, and you get to embrace both. No one is just all light or all dark. And all light and all dark, let's not pretend like light is only positive and dark is only negative. We received here the 4 of fire, but we received this card in reverse, which shows us that when you're really focused on differentiating the different parts of yourself, that can make it difficult for you to even hit the target. You know, when you're overthinking so much that in the end you don't even do anything. You overthink your to-do list to the point where you just sit there, you scroll through social media, or you don't even know what to do with yourself. And before you know it, 3/4 of the day has gone by, it's evening time, you're feeling bad that you didn't get to do all of the things that you set out to do, and all of a sudden you're like, man, how did I even let this happen? And that is where your guides are trying to communicate to you here in the 2 of air. It doesn't have to be perfect. Whatever you do, it's about progress, not perfection. Don't wait till the perfect moment. Don't overthink it. Just like with me, for example, here we have the 8 of fire, by the way, and I apologize if this reading is a little bit all over the place. I'm going with the movements, the picking the card, and also the messages as they intuitively come. So if it's a little all over the place and a little hard to follow, I apologize. I just don't want to miss out on any of these messages. I don't want you to miss out on any of them. So as already mentioned, I am going through something similar where it's like, why overthink these readings? Just post them. Just put them out there, just channel the messages. In the end, authenticity always wins. In the end, authenticity and putting something out there and it being imperfect is still better than keeping your best ideas in your head and them never seeing the light of day and no one ever being able to utilize what you're capable of in order to better their life. So I want you to know here in the 8 of fire reverse that actually what your guides are trying to say to you is like, hey, slow your roll with the overthinking and the self-deprecation, and instead now's the time to focus on just putting one foot in front of the other. All right, stop looking at the entire staircase. What comes next is just take baby steps. Like, you want to build that online business, okay, buy a domain, okay, download Shopify, or at least that's what I'm using. If you want to host online courses and you want to host more digital products, I'm using Kajabi for that, for my memberships, for my online courses, okay? Get some free game from YouTubers who don't gatekeep, from people who are here to help. By the way, you guys, speaking of that, this is very unintentionally now making its way into this reading. I have a completely free course for you guys, and it's hosted on Kajabi, so you can also get a feel for the platform in case you want to host your own online courses and products and communities on there. It comes with a free community where I post readings and exclusive things you can only get in that community, and it's an entire mini course on how you can successfully build a YouTube channel from the ground up. And there's also tarot readings and tarot lessons in there. Can you believe it, you guys? Literally provide value to people. Provide it for free. The link to that is below in the description box. Stop overthinking, just do. And creating this mini course for you guys, it was exactly that. I see here within wisdom that Spirit wants to tell you that Everything you desire right now loves action and it loves speed. It loves you not overthinking whether it is perfect or quote unquote worthy of being seen, and instead you just putting it out there. You just making it public, publishing it, taking the action. Remember, one foot in front of the other. I know it can sometimes be daunting. We have a card that flew right out of the pile. So in the wisdom card, we have this person that looks like the hermit in the tarot, right? And then here, in the Six of Fire, you've got a lot of fire energy, which is masculine energy. The Six of Fire shows us here someone who is on this throne, very triumphant, telling these other two individuals what to do. They are holding these two swords. We again have the duality. We have the light, we have the dark. We have the different sides of you. And remembering that both can work together. You don't have to choose to just be one person. You can have a side that you, for example, only reserve for your private life, and then a side of yourself that you use for work, that you use to get things done. I do want you to know here within the Six of Fire that what we have is this energy of triumph. The Six of Fire is actually a card in the tarot that represents you winning, you being triumphant, you having the things that you desired at the end of the day, even if for a while things looked a little wobbly, a little shaky, you know what I mean? Group number 4, that can happen. Trust the process. Furthermore, within wisdom and the number 10, I am getting this message from Spirit that there's something very specific that your guides want to say to you. And for that, I'm going to use some letters so we can get some extreme clarity here, which is why I also always like to tell you guys, take what suits you, what resonates, and what doesn't. So this is really extraordinary because we have two blank, I don't want to call this runes, two blank pieces of wood, two blank letter spaces, and then we've got the letter S. So the two blank spaces, this is really uncommon. And I want to add a little more into your reading so you can see precisely what I mean. So we received 3 more letters, which is X and O. All right. And as I already mentioned to you, most of these, well, almost all of them have at least a letter on here. And just seeing here that you first received the letter S being really important with these blank spaces, I see that you've gained a lot of wisdom from someone whose name starts with the letter S. All right, and the letter S is a letter of keepers in your life. Then what I also do see here is, of course, the word sun. And then we have X as well. X marks the spot. So group number 4, do not be surprised if kids are on the radar for you, that a son is going to be the firstborn, that a son, masculine energy is what's going to come into your life first. And it's going to happen at a time where you're wise enough to know that you're ready. Perhaps you already have kids, and then it makes sense that a sun energy is what's in your life, what's important here, and what has taught you so much about yourself and has allowed you to gain so much wisdom. All right, so next up within your reading, we have got triggers and the number 9. Age 9 for your son is going to be filled with triggers for you. And that's because the treatment that he is trying to give to girls is something that you will see in your own bubble from your own viewpoint. And your son making normal kid mistakes, it's going to trigger you in many ways and almost like mortify you, because you will be raising a son, you will be raising a child that knows better than to harm another person emotionally or physically. So whenever he tries, just as kids do, which is of course not a reflection of like bad parenting or anything crazy like that, it's just normal, kids push boundaries. When certain boundaries are pushed that are just complete no-goes for you, and you know you are triggered, you definitely reinforce what kind of behavior is acceptable and what not. and you are unwilling to allow unacceptable behavior to be passed down to further generations. Here within ruminate, you do think of your parents and your grandparents next as people who truly tried their best. You're not judging. We also have the number 18 here, which is precisely half of the number 9. Isn't that so telling how we spoke about your offspring, your son specifically, and that being half the number value of your rumination? And the rumination having to do with your family who is older, okay, those who came before you, parents and grandparents, and then we split that in half, and ruminating about how they raised you, the things that they went through and what caused them to be the way that they are and also caused them to make the mistakes that they made. That is what you are making. The immediate connection causes your triggers. So we all have triggers. We all will go through times of feeling triggered. But rather than allowing that to make you explode, lose your cool, or act in any type of way out of character, actually it's just giving you so much wisdom. See how we have laid X and Sun on wisdom? You will have so much more wisdom from the fact that you are making these connections, and you're also understanding that triggers are chemical reactions within your body that start in the mind and are completely normal. When our brain notices certain patterns, certain sequences that in the past caused pain or hurt or were signs and symbols of danger, of course your body will still react in that way. But bit by bit, you can start to unlearn. And the first way of unlearning is by becoming really conscious of these triggers. So for you, group number 4, we have this really strong message from your guides about what your future holds when it comes to your children, your parenting, and that is already applicable to the present moment of the fact that you are already making connections of how your childhood and your own personal traumas have affected you, what that has done to you. In the guide and the gift, you are seeing it as a guide and a gift. You're not seeing it as being born into struggle, into this victimhood, not at all. You truly have transformed from a place of slight victimhood to understanding. Actually, we were all given our parents in order to learn certain lessons that we would not have learned if we didn't have these specific parents. And I know it can be extremely hard to come to terms with this or even to hear this, especially if your parents are, let me just be blunt, if your parents had monster tendencies. If to you in some ways they were monsters, they were extremely wrong. What they did was extremely inappropriate and inadequate. But when you understand that that was the best that they knew how, they didn't know any better. I see here within the sun, you are charged in light. You are freeing yourself of carrying their mistakes on your back and that heaviness having anything to do with you. Because it doesn't, group number 4. Life is so incredibly short. And I know it is a widely used term to say life is short, but let's really think about this. Let's use this tarot and the psychic reading space and the fact that you are not just consuming a piece of content that is just a dopamine hit after dopamine hit. No, you are listening into long form content that is actually good for your brain, that is actually stimulating you in so many ways, healing you. Let's really think about how short life is. Think about how old you are right now. Perhaps you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50. I know I have a plethora of different age groups who watch my channel. And you may think to yourself, man, actually this has gone by kind of quickly if I think about it. And to remind yourself of the fact that life really is too short to allow yourself to use your best years, your most ripest time, to be held back by what happened in the past. I know it's hard to let go. I know things have happened for you, group number 4, that are beyond challenging, that a lot of people would not have been able to overcome, but they're not you, group number 4. And I want you to live your life to the absolute fullest. And I see here that what comes inevitably, Next for you is success. Your reading is a completely positive, empowering reading filled with these symbols that show that you are courageous, you are wise, you are the type of person who is self-aware enough to know that they have different personality traits, different parts of themselves. And rather than shunning the part of yourself that you feel a little shy to show the public or to show anyone, embrace it to the degree where it becomes just as important as the side that you want to show everyone. Furthermore, we have a lot of this fire energy, right? We have the 8 of fire reversed. We also have here the 6 of fire upright, and then we have the 4 of fire reversed. And what this shows us here is that when it comes to the part of your life of ambition, of doing things that you love, of having hobbies and so on, right now, pause those. That's what Spirit is trying to say. Spirit is trying to say right now, focus just on winning one thing. And that one thing is your career. Win one thing. That one thing is winning the quote unquote battle of the mind and of becoming the master of your mind. Becoming the master of who you want to be publicly. And then embracing that and never looking back again. Becoming the person who makes as much as you want to make, that is able to provide for themselves effortlessly, because then as you're dating, or if you are currently in a relationship, it's really easy for you to discern whether you're being treated appropriately or whether, as Spirit is trying to say to you, it's time to reconsider. A next step for you that your guides clearly want to communicate, group number 4, is that it might be time to reconsider certain relationships in your life. And sometimes we have to, even if it's been years or decades, we have to reevaluate. And trust me, group number 4, I know it's not easy. I've been there too, where I've been in a relationship that was really long, many years. There were a lot of attachments, a lot of joint responsibilities, but that does not give anyone more of a reason to be able to stick around in your life, especially if they're really dishonest, especially if they are destroying things that you have worked so hard for, that you have built, especially if they're the type of person who has their own personal issues and they're starting to get more and more out of hand. Really think about this life is too short analogy. Do you want your story on your tombstone, at your funeral, to be that you lived your life chasing someone else, trying to fix someone else, never actually chasing your own dreams or living your own dreams because you were so busy trying to take care of another person or be loyal in a relationship because you'd already been with them for this long? Do you really want that to be your story, group number 4? That is what we have to ask ourselves. And I know it's tough, but you're here on my channel for a reason. You guys come here because you know your big sis from the internet is always going to tell you the truth. I'm always going to tell you things exactly as they are. And in this timeless pick a card tarot reading and psychic prediction, it is apparent that you are now receiving this at the perfect moment. A day earlier, it would have been too soon. A day later, and it would have been too late. The information that you're receiving here is stopping you and helping you prevent doing more things that are going against the future you're trying to create for yourself. So next we have no, a strong no with an exclamation mark. And once you reconsider, you're going to come to this conclusion on your own that no, that will not be my story. That will not be my story to have that as an example in front of my children, that I never fully lived my life, and what I did was I focused more on someone else that I couldn't control. Because one thing that I do see and get here from your angels is that if you believe you're strong enough, you are intelligent enough, you're driven enough, you're ambitious enough, to live the life that you see before your eyes when you close them and you think of, what do my dreams look like? If you believe, group number 4, you can do it. If you believe, it can be a raving success, but it starts with you. And it's just as that quote goes, that if you can't love someone else, other way around. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. The same goes for your success. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect anyone else to believe in you? So it's really important that you amp that up, and there's a reason why you're receiving this right now. And if you need to, get more info to actually provide you with the evidence of how capable that you are. Group number 4, when I am feeling down and out, or I kind of forget who I am for a second, which is happening less and less frequently, but it still does from time to time, I literally scroll through your comments. I literally go on my channel. I literally go into my Shopify store and look at how many things I've sold. I go into my Kajabi platform to see how many members are in there. I go onto my Patreon, read all of the beautiful comments, and look at how many of you have actually signed up. And I'm like, no. Look at the evidence of things that I have already done. I don't need to question whether I can live this dream life. I don't need to question whether I can accomplish the next goal of helping more people, of supporting more of you, of actually getting to this goal, the next big goal that I have for my channel, for my business, for myself. Of course I can do that. I can't believe I ever even questioned it. And I want you to have a repertoire of things that you can look at just in order to underline your capability. It could be a degree that you got. It could be a job position that you work yourself up to. It could be that, you have sold your own products. You have written your own books. That's another thing I do. The 6 decks that I've published and written and created, I look at those. Now, a quote from the Grand Budapest Hotel for you. I was once considered a great beauty. I want you to know here that aging is something that you are never going to see with regret. You are one of these healthy individuals who loves to age because to you, it just shows that you actually lived life, and for you, it comes with a lot of wisdom. But one thing here about I was once considered a great beauty is I don't want you to forget your beauty right now. And I want you to know that regardless of how you age, we are inclined to think, younger is better. But have you ever seen, for example, a woman, and I always think of like The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep playing the chief editor lady, put her in a room with ladies half her age. The wisdom and how much she owns her light, her dark side, how confident she is, how her energy radiates. You can't compare it. She just brings something to the table that you just cannot compare, even if someone is way younger, and it's very attractive. And I want you to know that you have just that, group number 4, and you can develop more of that. But remember how one of the first things, the first messages is confidence when you think of her. You think being self-assured, you think owning her hard work and her accomplishments. Now let's see what question that Spirit has for you that you are meant to ponder on right now. What's the biggest thing you've been procrastinating lately? Why have you been resistant to working on it? I love this question for you, group number 4, because it fits so well with where we're going and with this reading not just being another psychic reading that you received on the interweb or on YouTube, but it actually motivating you and pushing you to stop procrastinating. Figure out why you've been resistant to work on it, and also become very clear with yourself on the fact that often the things we procrastinate are a lot easier to just do than if you think of all the time and you add it up, all the time that you use to procrastinate these things, was it really worth it? And there's this concept called eat the frog. And if you had the choice to either eat a frog, all right, with eyes, skin, everything like that, I know, gross, either before dinner and then enjoy the rest of that dinner, or after dinner, and then the entire dinner, you still need to eat a frog, what would you choose? This is also about delayed gratification. If there's no way to get out of it, you have to eat the frog, you would eat the frog first thing, wouldn't you? And then you would just enjoy the rest of your dinner and not have the aftertaste of the frog because that's the last thing that you ate. No, you would eat the frog and then you would cleanse your palate with the yummy foods that you're having at the dinner once you've had the frog. Same goes with procrastination. First thing in the morning, eat your frog. Your frog may be meditating, your frog may be doing emails you don't want to do, phone calls you don't want to do, getting up early, period. Having healthy foods first thing in the morning, eat your frog and enjoy the rest of your day. And that's something that will then be applicable to your entire life. You eat your frog and you enjoy the rest of your life. And group number 4, I have some more messages prepared for you that you are meant to receive. So we're going to get into those. You don't have to do a thing. These are all channeled messages that you intuitively must have right now in order to have a whole encompassing reading with not just messages of what's coming next and what's coming towards you, but also things you can apply right now. So just continue to make yourself comfortable, relax into this space. This is your time. This is your self-care. You don't have to lift a finger. We'll just delve even more deeply into a continuation of your reading that you are meant to receive. So group number 4, relax, take a sip of your favorite beverage, have a snack, and we will continue to delve into the messages that you are meant to receive. Hello, my gorgeous soul. Welcome to your reading, and let's see what your guides have to say today about everything that you need to hear. So let's get into it. First up, success is assured for you. Success is coming your way today. Get excited because you are on a wave of success. You're on a wave of green lights, of being initiated into the next levels and into the next places where you belong and you're meant to be. We've also got a strong yes. I mean, could this reading be any more positive? Your guides and your angels are telling you that if you have been thinking of taking a leap, we've got a big yes for you. Now's the time to do so. Now's the time to leap. Now's the time to be fearless. Now's the time to say yes to everything that you desire and to not worry about whether it will work out or not. Yes, it will. You are destined for success. You are destined for greatness. You are destined for things to work out for you. This is your confirmation today to carry on, to keep going, and to not be afraid of taking that leap. Don't be afraid of betting on you. Next up, we have got unlikely. The reason why unlikely is showing up after success and yes is to reassure you of the fact that it is unlikely that you will find that this was a bad idea. It is unlikely that you will find that you wish you would have done things differently. You will not regret saying yes. You will not regret betting on your own success. You will not regret being that person that wasn't afraid to do what they've always desired to do. Next up, we have friendship. Friendship shows up when it's also time for you to nurture relationships that nurture you. You've got some friends that really want to see you win, that really want to see you do you and to be successful. And here within friendship, I just want it to be abundantly clear that these are the people with whom you will go up with whom your success will grow and thrive with, and who also, should you stagnate, or should there be any bumps in the road, you will be able to count on them. You will be able to know that they are real ones, because they were with you when you began, they were with you when things looked unlikely. So of course, they will want to be with you here in success and encourage you to say yes to everything that you've always dreamed of. Now within competition, your guides are saying to you to summon courage and self-confidence right now, especially if you feel as though you're a little unsure, saying yes feels foreign, it's so different, you're a little scared. Summon the courage and the self-confidence. You've got it within you. You have everything that you need to tap into this victorious and brave version of yourself that isn't afraid of anything. And Spirit and your guides want you to do that now. They want you to fearlessly tap into it. They want you to fearlessly say, yes, I've got this. I am courageous, I'm self-confident, and I am an icon. I am a legend. Not only are you being given the message that you are a legend, but another message we have here is that Spirit and your guides want you to learn from those who inspire you and those who came before you. So there are people who you find legendary, who you see as iconic. Learn from those people, because success leaves evidence. Success leaves its traces. And Spirit wants you to not only be aware of that, but to pay close attention to what those traces are, to pay close attention to what it is here in success that you can learn from and that you can apply to your very own journey. The Ten of Wands shows us here that you are at a stage in your life right now where there is a little bit of fatigue, all right? Where it is also time amidst the success to remind yourself that you too are human and you deserve rest. You deserve to take some time to celebrate the successes you've already had, and that will not get in the way of new successes, all right? So try to just clear that from your mind, the fear or the feeling of, oh my God, it's going to take away from future successes. It's not, my gorgeous soul. I see here within these Six of Swords that what we have got for you is actually completely shifting, changing your mindset from one that was afraid of your own success and potential to being completely immersed and engulfed in this sensation of, yeah, of course I'm supposed to be successful. Of course I'm supposed to be this person that gets everything that they want and more. So this is really the power of expectation. I talk about this in my Manifesting Abundance course. So I want you to know here that the power of success and expecting success is on your side right now. Instead of worrying about when the next challenge is coming, the next bill, the next breakup, the next situation in a friendship that will disappoint you, expect the best. Expect a check in the mail, expect a deposit into your account, expect someone who loves you to come into your life, expect friends who are loyal. I want you to know here that it's all here for you, and there's nothing more to be afraid of than fear itself. So we're not even going to be available for it. We're not even going to be on that frequency. Now, my gorgeous soul, this is the reading that you are meant to receive. You are a successful person. You are a successful soul. Say yes to the opportunity. And also understand here that while you are iconic, there's lots that you can learn and take along your way from your personal icons. Hello, my gorgeous soul. Welcome. Can't wait to see precisely what your guides have to say to you today and what messages that they want to reveal for you. I hope that you're just as ready as I am. So let's get into it, shall we? So first up, we've got the Carnelian. Your guides are trying to say to you that it is in fact time for you to feed your creativity. It is in fact time for you to put your creative foot forward and to do things that feed that creativity on a daily basis. It could be, for example, painting, drawing. It could be creating something like new recipes, all right, in the kitchen, being creative, creating meals that are really yummy, that make you feel good in your body and that digest well for your body specifically. Feeding your creativity can be done in so many different ways, even organization in your home. If you would like to lead a life that's a lot more organized, finding ways how you can better organize yourself, your home, and make yourself feel more at home in your own space. The Agate brings you the message from your guides that today is about getting back into balance. You know what it's like to be out of balance. You know what it's like to deal with stressors and things that just feel like they're simply too much. But there are so many creative ways in which you can get back into balance, creative ways in which you're no longer going to find that balance is something that you struggle with, all right? So it may sometimes feel like there isn't enough time in the day for everything you want to accomplish, or things are really big and out of reach. But trust me, with systems in place of how you can creatively, continuously take steps towards your dream life, before you know it, you will be accomplishing all the things you desire, whether it is actually being very organized, very put together, or whether that is goals that you have financially. Everything is just a process. It's a mechanism of different disciplines that you're engaging in. And I see here within the ocean jasper, your guides want you to schedule yourself in. Your guides are saying, in order to really feel like you're back into balance, in the schedule, in being creative about how you can get as much as possible done, also schedule yourself in, schedule you time in, schedule in time to just do nothing, to just enjoy your life and to just lean back, because the ocean jasper is truly all about finding yourself in a spot, in a position where each and every day you know that you have a little bit of you time to do some of the things that you really like, that don't have to be productive, that don't have to be creative. It can just be doing nothing or watching your favorite show. So the Celestite shows us here that your guides need you to soothe your soul now. You're the one who always soothes everyone else's soul. You're the one who always does everything for every other individual. But who's going to do the same for you? Who is soothing your soul? So it's important that until you really feel like you have a person, or should I just say a partnership in your life that also helps to soothe your soul, and regardless of whether you have that or not, it's important that you do the same for yourself. It's important that you soothe your soul for you. Let's move a little more deeply into this, shall we? All right, next up, we've got the sanctuary for you. Now, within the sanctuary, your guides are communicating to you that it's time to take some moments away from the world, to spend more time alone, to not feel as though you have to constantly be available. Meditate or go on a retreat, book a retreat. I just want you to know here within the sanctuary that what this pertains to is actually being able to spend time disconnected. So even putting your phone in airplane mode is an excellent idea at this point in time, because it just allows you to be really present and to not have to deal with everything and everyone's issues all the time. But no, you can actually just focus on yourself. You can actually just make sure that everyone else's issues are at bay and you don't constantly need to deal with them. So we have got possibility. Raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential is what your guides are trying to say to you. It is now really a great moment for you to raise your standards when it pertains to the friends that you keep around you, raising your standards when it comes to any partners that you would potentially select, and elevating your expectations for yourself. So having the power of expectation beside you, where of course you expect the best result for yourself. Of course you expect to be successful. Of course you expect for things to go well and to go your way. Why shouldn't they? Next up, we've got balance for you. Now, balance shows us that your guides want you to take time to relax, indulge a little more, or if relaxing and getting back into balance is indulging less, do less. For example, people who indulge in alcoholic beverages, for them, really relaxing, maybe actually taking time away from drinking any alcohol, because then they can actually get good sleep. Then they're actually going to bed early. So it's about setting boundaries with any types of substances or patterns and behaviors that you have that do take some of your time and energy in potentially an unhealthy manner. And what your guides want to say to you right now is to set boundaries with your work too. Balance is important. Setting boundaries with your work and keeping your work at arm's length at times, saying, you know, up until 6 p.m. I am working, but after that I'm in airplane mode. After that I'm not checking my emails and I'm not answering anything. So it is about differentiating between you time and work time and allowing that to feel like a balanced situation rather than being available all the time for everybody, and then feeling as though you never really have you time, feeling as though you always have to be available for people, even though you don't necessarily want to be. So this is the reading that your guides have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this and found it insightful, and I can't wait to connect with you in your next reading.